Hello folks, I'm Ronald Mehta and welcome back to Digit.com. We are your digital aid and we provide free courses on the subject of business and marketing. This video is a comprehensive take on the subject of sales management along with live examples and case studies. The video covers close to 34 topics on the gamut of sales management. Let's start with the first one. Alright, let's start with the introduction to sales management. Sales management entails the gamut of sales force, sales function and selling activities. According to Rachman and Mono, sales management includes recruiting, selecting, training, supervising, motivating, and evaluating the sales force. The objectives of sales management include achieving sufficient sales volume and sufficient profit, and experiencing continuing growth. Moving on, the role of the sales department. The success of any business organization depends significantly on the sales department. The sales department has a special and crucial role to play. The role of the sales department is to connect the customer's needs to the organization's products and services. This helps the firm satisfy customer needs. Let's look at a case study of Apple on sales management. Apple staff trained on the lines of hospitality major Ritz Carlton. The staff at Apple retail stores are all screened and trained with a great deal of scrutiny before they make it out onto the sales floor to interact with customers. When Apple first decided to open its own retail stores, they sent all their store managers to hospitality training at the Ritz Carlton. The luxury hotel service became the basis for Apple's own unique customer service model. Apple's mantra here is, offer customer service in 3 simple steps. Greet each customer warmly, address them by their name if possible, and offer a fond farewell. Moving further. Before the launch of the first store, Steve Jobs surveyed Silicon Valley heavyweights on their best customer service experience. Almost every person he interviewed recalled a great customer service experience with Ritz Carlton. Jobs took the concept of the concierge desk and created the Apple Store signature Genius Bar, which is a customer service bar at the back of the store. The Ritz Carlton is a gold standard of customer service, so it would make sense that the Apple retail store would benchmark itself against a brand known for its legendary service. Moving on to the role of sales department. Breaking it down further. These are the following roles, starting with the first one, goal setting. The company's goals and targets are set by the sales and the marketing department. Future sales targets are predicted with the help of previous sales figures and expert estimates. Next, fixing up the sales quota. Each salesman is given a fixed sales quota. This is decided with the help of the overall sales target. A sales quota or target is a goal to be achieved within a specific time period. The goal is set in terms of amount, product units sold, or selling activities. The time to achieve this target can be a month, a quarter, 6 months, or a year. Moving on to the third one. Product pricing and distribution planning. Customers are contacted by sales and marketing managers. Product service development is done with the help of the customer's feedback. The price of products or services are also decided by the sales department, or their inputs are taken into consideration. They are also supposed to plan the distribution. This includes selecting the right wholesalers, distributors, and retailers. Number 4. Customer service. Satisfaction of customers is needed to maintain a customer base. This is taken care by the sales department. The department activity contacts customers for surveys, special offers, etc. It also has to react to customers' problem in order to keep them loyal to the organization. Number 5. Promotions. Promotion is done through advertising, PR, event management, discount, sales promotion, contest, etc. The department decides how product services will be promoted to increase sales on the ground. Number 6. Sales forecasting. The estimation of future sales by a company is known as sales forecasting. The sales department has to predict customers' locations and how much they will buy. The department also predicts the maximum demand for a product or service and how much the firm can sell in a specific time period. Number 7. Coordination. The sales division has to coordinate with other departments. For instance, sales and distribution departments have to work together to make the product available at the right time and the place. Sales and production departments must also cooperate. They have to make sure they have enough products in the inventory at all times. Customer feedback is used to make changes to products. This is done by sales department along with the help of R&D department. At number 8, managing the sales force. The sales department also manages the sales force by handling these tasks, such as recruitment and selection, training and development, supervision, evaluation and performance control, and managing their salaries. Please note, the sales division is the only department that brings in an income for the company. That is why it is imperative for any organization. No other department produces income. That's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on Introduction to Sales Management. These are the list of sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and stay tuned for more videos. Let's start with the qualities of a sales manager. The role of a sales manager is very critical for an organization. The sales in an organization depend majorly on a sales manager. The sales manager is looked upon by the top management in matters related to sales. She or he provides operational guidance to the lower management. Hence, certain essential characteristics and qualities must be possessed by a sales manager to efficiently play her or his role. Now let's look at the qualities of a sales manager. First, physical characteristics. It refers to qualities like sound health, patience, alertness, tolerance, etc. Having sound health is critical in any field of management, including sales. Sound health helps with the strength required to face the stress faced in sales management. Patience, alertness and tolerance help sales managers peacefully deal with his clients and retain long-term relationship with customers. Moving on. Psychological characteristics, also known as mental characteristics. These entail qualities like motivation, leadership, etc. Next, character characteristics. This refers to self-discipline, positive attitude, and honesty, which are essential qualities required in a salesperson. A sales manager's attitude helps us know the person better. Positive attitude results in the success of an organization. Possessing self-discipline is also necessary for the role of a salesperson. Apart from strong ethics, honesty will help them set an example for others. Next, intellectual characteristics. Analytical abilities, receptiveness, interaction abilities, and judgmental abilities are the four main intellectual qualities. A good sales manager must be open to ideas he receives from other salespeople or sales managers. Analytical and judgmental abilities must be used to differentiate between good and bad decisions for the organization, and these opinions must be communicated to the people concerned. Moving on to the next, skill characteristics. People skills, management skills, and technical skills are referred to in this criteria. Management skills include motivating, organizing, and controlling sales force. Technical skills involving knowledge related to products, training skills, and negotiation skills must be possessed by them. Managing interpersonal relationship falls under people skills. And finally, a case study of Ritz Carlton empowering the staff. Now, in a hospitality segment, the service staff and the sales staff are different, but ideally, even the service staff are part of a sales channel because they are the ones who face the customers and convince them to buy products and services at the hospitality chain. So let's see how Ritz Carlton is empowering their staff. Each employee, irrespective of their position, are referred to as the lady and gentleman at the Ritz Carlton. They are motivated and are able to make quick decisions on their own in the moment to resolve any issue quickly or to make their experience memorable. These issues are also known as incidents, and the staff is authorized to spend up to amount of $2,000 per guest. The concept is to create an overwhelming stay experience for the guest. As stated by Simon Cooper, one of the ex-head honchos at Ritz Carlton, a lot of stuff that crosses my desk is not that overcame a problem, but that they used their $2,000 to create an outstanding experience. Let's see how. There are stories about hiring a carpenter to build a shoe tree for a guest. On the other hand, a laundry manager who couldn't get a stain out of a dress after trying twice flew down from Puerto Rico to New York to return the dress personally. And finally, when a waiter in Dubai overheard a gentleman musing with his wife who was in a wheelchair that it was a shame he couldn't get her down to the beach, the waiter told the maintenance guys, and the next afternoon, there was a wooden walkway down the beach to a tent that was set up for them to have dinner in. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on qualities of a sales manager. These are the list of sources and links referred to for our content in the video. Thank you and stay tuned for more videos. Let's start with the structure of sales organizations. To increase the effectiveness of their sales force, medium to large size companies broaden their sales organization structures. Meeting customer needs, nature of the product, ability of their sales force, number of products to be sold, etc. are few of the criteria on the basis on which sales organization structures are designed. Moving on, there are several types of sales structures prevalent in organizations. Let's look at some common ones. They are functional, product, market, territory, and hybrid. Let's take a stab at each one of them briefly, starting with functional sales structure. Apart from the fact that functions are confined only to sales and marketing, functional sales structure is similar to a corporate functional structure. In this structure, the area sales manager analyzes and conveys inputs and feedbacks given to him by the promotional manager and the research manager to the salesperson. Sometimes the marketing manager directly interacts with the sales staff. This structure is perfect for smaller organizations which may sell only a single product or few functions whose manager can be combined in one like promotion and marketing research. Next, product specialization structure. For companies with multiple businesses and many brands of products, a sales organization that is based on product specialization is more applicable. There are two types of product specialization. First, sales organization which has product managers, and second, organization which has a specialized sales force. In the case of two groups of products, it is the responsibility of individual division marketing managers, also known as product managers, to implement and plan separate marketing plans for each group of products. Products of both groups must be sold by each salesperson and there isn't any specialization by the product. The diagram, as you can witness, there is product group A and there is product group B for different areas. Apart from instantly reacting to the changes in marketplace, a cost-effective marketing mix strategy is developed by product managers for each product and brand. Moving from a brand-driven organization into category management and then into customer need management is the ideal trend. Moving on to market specialization structure. When the customer is classified by a user industry, channel of distribution, or a specific type, the market specialized sales organization is useful. In this structure, apart from a particular customer group, the salesperson executes all activities for all products. The customer groups can be, as you can witness in the diagram, could be commercial customers, government customers, or B2C customers. Different dealers have different buying preferences and practices. The use of marketing specialization has increased in the last few years. Automobile companies typically supply their cars to governments, to commercial sectors and to customers. So they typically split their organizational sales structure into a market specialization structure. Number 4, territory-based structure. Sales operations are organized along national boundaries by large organizations that sell at a national level. Geographical areas are assigned to salespeople who are then responsible for sale of products in that area. Pretty vanilla in nature. The territory manager, also called the branch, district or regional manager, has a lot of people working under him or her. 2 to 3 territory managers work in companies that have a large number of salespeople. The division of the national market into regional market is ideally based on demographic and ethnic segmentation. Local sales in many companies at the regional and district level are handled by area managers or local managers. Some marketing managers prepare district plans and regional plans for selling the product. They also help the selling team by adjusting the company's marketing strategy and plans to align with local and regional needs. And finally, a combination, or also known as a hybrid sales structure. The strength of one organization's sales structure is a weakness of other organization's structure. To minimize disadvantages and maximize the advantages, we use the structure. Some companies combine the market structure and territory specializations. Let's see how. For instance, we have the director of sales and marketing, and then we have the general managers based on territory, that is north, east, west, and south. Moving further, under each territory, for instance, under sales east, you have regional managers for a market-oriented structure such as government, commercial, and dealers. The same would be repeated for a general manager under north, west, and south. Thus, the ones marked in pink are based on territory, and under each territory, there would be a regional sales manager for different kind of markets. This type of specialization is required for the firm to remain competitive, whereas the basis of specialization can vary depending on the firm. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on structure of sales organization. These are the list of sources and links referred to for our content in the video. Thank you and stay tuned for our more videos. Let's start with the development in sales management. It includes the following elements, starting with effectiveness to efficiency, increasing use of the internet, multidisciplinary approach, customer relationship management, internal marketing, and professionalism in selling. Now let's take a stab at each one of them briefly, starting with effectiveness to efficiency. Efficient is all about performance or function with the minimum waste of time and effort in the best possible manner. Effectiveness is doing the right thing, whereas efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness and efficiency among sales representatives can be considered as a practical example. An effective sales representative is when he or she achieves daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly goals. For instance, an effective sales representative is one that has to make 70 calls a day and achieves it easily. Some people go the extra mile and make about 80 to 90 calls a day.
But there's a catch here. What happens when those dials are translating into handful of sales deals? Very less. Thus, we can say that the sales representative is effective in calling, but not efficient in closing sales deals. So the focus here is on efficiency. Now, efficiency can be achieved in two ways. First, increasing productivity, and next, cost reduction through better cost management. Moving on to the second one, increasing use of the internet. Companies widely use the internet mainly for two basic reasons. First, in connection to sales, MIS concerns itself with collecting, storing, analyzing, disseminating, as in distributing, the information to required destinations. Appropriate and controlling system is developed by companies through MIS. This is done to handle sales with speed, consistency, and reliability. Moving on to number 3, multidisciplinary approach. A number of disciplines or functions means multidisciplinary, such as companies focusing on increasing their efficiency adopt a multidisciplinary approach in selling and marketing function. Increasing productivity and cost reduction in manufacturing involves 4 different functions such as R&D, procurement, production, quality and control management. If we talk about marketing, it includes the gamut of sales, advertising, sales promotion, CRM, market research, etc. Specialists of the field handle each of these functions. Therefore, the approach to total marketing or selling activity becomes multidisciplinary. Moving on to number 4, customer relationship management. Due to increasing competition and knowledge of the market, customer handling has been changed by companies. Achieving customer loyalty is the prime goal of every company. We'll see that in our case study later on. CRM and MIS combined leads to customer relationship management. Moving on to number 5, the gamut of internal marketing. Now there are 3 types of marketing as suggested by the service marketing triangle. In order to fulfill the promises made to customers, they must be carefully carried out. Let's see how. First, external marketing. Your company makes promises to the customers about what is to be delivered to them in external marketing. For instance, Starbucks promises a good coffee. Internal marketing is wherein the employees come into play, who are also called as internal customers. Employees are the internal customers and they keep the promises made to the customers made by the company. The activities that the firm must carry out to train, motivate as well as reward its employees are referred to as internal marketing, thus taking care of your employees. And finally, interactive marketing. Now picture this. Who's the one interacting with the customers? Is it the management or the employees? It is the latter, that is the employees. So the interaction here is between the employees and the customers that define the brand for the customer. Therefore, employees interact directly with customers. Promises are delivered to customers in interactive marketing. And these promises were made by the company in external marketing. Moving on to number 6, which is the final one, that is professionalism in selling. In modern times, huge importance is given to skill development and training. In order to develop the necessary selling skills, salespersons and sales managers need to be trained. In fact, most of these companies set up their own training centers for employees. Latest gadgets and technologies such as iPad and softwares are given to the sales representatives to help them plan their schedules. Now moving on to a case study of Starbucks and how Starbucks is managing the sales. Let's see how does Starbucks have a personal connection with its customers with the help of technology. Reinforcement learning technology is a kind of machine learning where the decision of a system is unpredictable and complicated environments are dependent on external feedback. It is used by Starbucks to provide its customers using the Starbucks mobile app with a more customized experience. The reinforcement learning platform in the app provides customers with customized order suggestions which are hosted and created on Microsoft Azure. Suggestions are given by the app to around 16 million Starbucks reward customers for drinks and food depending upon the time of the day, local store inventory, previous orders, weather phenomenon, community preferences, and even popular selections. This is achievable only with the help of Starbucks data scientists and this technology. This customization helps consumers order items they will most probably like. Now moving on to the other case study of implementing the Internet of Things to deliver the smooth coffee experience via their stores. More than a dozen equipment are operated by every Starbucks store. They range from blenders and grinders to coffee machines and are used for an average of 16 hours daily. Repair cost can build up through service calls due to a glitch in any of this equipment. Therefore, Starbucks is working on launching Azure Sphere with Microsoft in order to minimize disruptions in the Starbucks experience and to keep the devices safely connected to the cloud. And there's a logic here. It is designed to keep the IoT devices coming up in all of its store equipment connected. For every espresso shot, more than a dozen data points are accumulated. This data ranges from the coffee temperature to the type of beans and water quality to be used. This gets even more interesting. Guardian module was an external device developed by Microsoft for Starbucks to securely collect data and identify the problems in machines by connecting Azure Sphere with different bits of equipment. New coffee recipes can be sent by Starbucks to the machine through its technology anywhere in the world. Think about the complexity. We have to get about 30,000 stores in nearly 80 markets to update those recipes, says Jeff Field, Senior Vice President of Retail and Core Technology Services for Starbucks Technology. That recipe push is a huge part of the cost saving and the justification for doing this. According to Field, this is a way of switching their reactive maintenance to a predictive method where issues can be predicted and fixed. This helps Starbucks spend their time handcrafting the drinks rather than maintaining machines, all via the Internet of Things. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic of development in sales management. These are the list of sources and links referred to for our content in the video. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.
Alright, let's start with the new trends in sales management. These entail the following. First, global perspective. Second, revolution in technology. Sales for diversity. Team selling approach. Managing multi-channels. Ethical and social issues. And the gamut of e-selling. Let's take a stab at each one of them briefly, starting with the global perspective. Global competition is increasing. Domestic companies that never had to worry about foreign competitors are now surrounded by them. The sales force of foreign companies must be met by salespeople and managers of domestic companies. They must also work on improving their own selling efforts in other countries. The difference in culture, currencies, languages, etc. are the few challenges that sales managers face when they sell goods in the global market. Since many global markets are growing rapidly and emerging, opportunities must be considered by sales managers as well. A firm does not necessarily have to be big to sell globally. Small and medium-sized companies can also sell in the global market. Next, revolution in technology. The capabilities of marketing organizations and consumers have considerably increased due to the management of information and the digital revolution. Buyers can now compare suppliers' cost, get product information, and place orders online in just a few seconds. A great amount of information is accessible to them about almost everything online. A new set of capabilities is also acquired by marketing organizations. More details about the firm and its products and services can be gathered by them. Two-way communications can be had with customers, suppliers, intermediaries, and prospects. Moving on to the third, sales force diversity. There is a variation and change happening in the demographic characteristics of the sales force. Example, more selling and sales management posts are being held by women. In addition to that, salespeople are now educated with postgraduate or college degrees. Now a sales team consisting of more educated people, seniors, and women will have to be managed by sales managers. The tools will not be the same, and the expectation and the needs of different sales forces will vary. Moving on to the gamut of a team selling approach. In the past few years, team selling was widely practiced by a majority of companies. When a company wants to develop a long-lasting and mutually beneficial relationship with major clients or consumers with high profit potential and sales, team selling approach is used. A technical complex service or product is sold to a potential customer with the help of this approach. Generally, the selling team consists of top managers, customer service agents who get in touch with the customer through cold calling, technical specialists who offer technical guidance about the product. This composition varies depending on the client's buying center members. Moving on to managing multi-channels. Using two or more marketing channels to get to customers might cause problems like conflict and control for the organization. Because since the same customer will be pursued by two or more channels, it can cause major issue to manage multi-channels. Moving on to the next, ethical and social issues. Sales managers have ethical and social responsibilities. Ethical issues such as deception, bribery, and high-pressure techniques are faced by salespeople all the time. Some examples are when high-pressure techniques are used to commit wrong delivery schedules to customers that are in urgent need of raw materials. Or customers are often misled by the exaggeration of product benefits and when gift or payment is given to get an order. That happens in the healthcare industry. Sales managers are forced to ensure ethical standards amongst the sales force, or they might end up landing in legal problems or be out of business. And finally, the gamut of e-selling. A company can sell its products online if the website is converted from just a promotional tool to fully functional e-commerce operation. Customers are increasingly expecting companies to manage their sales online. E-purchasing is the buying of services and goods from online suppliers.
The marketing efforts of a company like promotion and selling are executed online in the case of e-marketing. E-selling is part of e-marketing that passive visitors of a company into its target audience. Shopping cart, services and software must be carefully chosen for a company to sell effectively online. Secure server systems must be used and the company should support customers before, after and during the purchase. Now let's look at a case study of Amazon and how Amazon has hopped on to the new trends of sales management. In this case, Amazon's revolution technology. Personalized recommendation system. When it comes to using an all-inclusive collaborative filtering engine, Amazon is a front runner. It serviced products that you put in your wish list, products put in your shopping cart, products you review and rate, and products more searched by you. It can create an image of you and look for similar products. It provides you with suggestions of things bought by them. This is how it narrows down and what it thinks you might want to purchase. Every 10 minutes on Amazon, the price of a product changes since the price of a product keeps changing about 2.5 million times a day. Moving further, the engine makes informed decisions with respect to the cost of items by surveying data related to everything varying from the inventory available to the competitor's pricing. This is only feasible due to the tremendous amount of companies' data available. Amazon has to deal with retail fraud regularly due to the brand's fame in the e-commerce world. It finds out which transactions have a high probability of being fraudulent with the help of machine learning algorithms and real-time and historical data points exceeding 2,000 per order. Annually, fraudulent transactions worth millions of dollars are withheld by the system. In fact, a few of Amazon's regular customers complained of being banned due to many returns in 2018. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on new trends in sales management. These are the list of sources and links referred to for our content in the video. Thank you and stay tuned for our more videos. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on process of selling. Let's start with the introduction. Apart from the product and sales organization, selling skills, tactics, and strategies are also important for the success in selling and sales management. Various activities performed by the salespeople are grouped into non-selling and selling activities. Many steps in the selling process constitute selling activities. Preparation of salesperson, collecting payments, collecting information, traveling, etc. are part of non-selling activities. Now let's look at the process of selling, with the first step being opening the sales call. Sometimes the saying, "the first impression is the last impression," stands to be appropriate. Therefore, a salesperson's introduction of himself is very crucial and affects the rest of the proceedings. The main objective is to get closer to the emotions and the wavelength of the prospect, meaning the customer, since this is not just a rapport building stage for present calls, but also for future ones. The product and the company should be introduced with the same spirit. Next, sales proposition. Sales proposition is made on the basis of quality, product, price, delivery package, and payment. Two very important functions are performed at this stage by the salesperson. First, the need level of the buyer is understood, and second, the salesperson probes the buyer to discover his inner thought. Probing, a psychological tool, seeks answers to the following questions. First, what is the buyer's real reaction to the sales proposal as compared to his verbal reaction? Second, what does the prospect understand about the market? And third, what are the prospect's attitude towards the competitor's package? In order to succeed in probing, the salesperson himself or herself has to be well informed. Moving to the third stage, presentation. Presentation is crucial in supplementing or strengthening the sales proposal. Details of the proposal are provided by it. Establishing the product and sales package is a main objective of a presentation. This involves studying the competitor's level, the market structure, uniqueness, or distinctiveness of the sales proposal. A presentation can be a simple conversation or discussion. Moving further, depending upon the volume of anticipated sale, nature of the product, and whether the prospect is an individual or group of executives, presentations can also have completely structured audiovisuals. Group presentations are more elaborate and structured. Explanations are provided to clarify queries or points during a presentation. Whenever applicable or necessary, product demonstrations are provided. The first step towards stimulating a customer is a sales presentation. Next in line, motivating the customer. Two separate actions are called in order to stimulate or motivate a customer. First, customers' objections are managed, and second, an urgency or a climate for sale is created. More information needs to be provided by salesperson about the product, competing brands, etc. in order to manage any resistance to a sale or objection. In more detailed terms, this involves problem-solving skills, a more positive approach, and a persuasive market intelligence backup. In the sales process, this is the most challenging step. The next step, as stated earlier, creating urgency is about helping the customer decide on buying the product immediately. The following two elements constitute urgency. First, the reason for doing business immediately, and second, the reward for doing business immediately. Moving on to the last stage of closing the sale. This is the pinnacle of the sales process. The salesperson finalizes the sale at this stage and receives the commitment of the buyer. The logical conclusion of a sales call must be its closing. The salesperson should be aware of when to strike, that is, close the sale. Timing is very important. Things shouldn't be postponed to the next day. And while closing a sale, every salesperson goes through the majority of these 5 steps. Thus, to conclude, the process of selling entails first, opening the sales call, second, sales proposition, third, presentation, fourth, motivating the customer, and fifth, closing the sale. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on process of selling. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on steps in selling process. Let's look at the steps briefly. First, prospecting and qualifying. Second, preparation/pre-approach. Third, approach. Fourth, presentation. Next, overcoming objections. Sixth, closing the sale. And finally, follow-up. Now let's look at each one of them in detail, starting with prospecting and qualifying. A salesperson does complete research before planning any sale. Research is essential to recognize the people or companies who could potentially be intrigued by the product. This step is a foundational step for the rest of the sales process. This step is called prospecting. A lead is a potential buyer, and a qualified lead who is willing, ready, and able to buy the product is a prospect. Moving on to step 2, pre-approach. In this step, a salesman's job is to find out the needs, preferences, behavior, problems, etc. of the prospect. There are chances that according to the particular requirements of a customer, the product may need to be altered. After attaining sufficient information about the customer's wishes, a salesman must develop his plan of sales interview or presentation. It is crucial that the sales presentation should be in alignment with the needs of the prospect. The presentation should enable the salesman to take care of the prospect smoothly through the entire buying process during the sales talk. Third, approach. The next step, when the salesman comes in contact with the prospect face to face with the prospect, is called approach. Approach has 2 parts, getting an interview and the first contact. For this, he or she can make use of telephone, introduction, or reference of another customer and his or her business card. The salesman should have the ability to catch the attention of the prospect and get them interested in the product. It's incredibly crucial to avoid being dismissed before the salesman can present the product. Moving on, 3 standard methods of approach are: first, the premium approach, wherein a salesman presents the potential client with a gift at the very beginning of the interaction. Next, the question approach. In order to get the prospect interested, the salesman should ask a question. And third, the product approach. The prospect is given a free trial or a sample of the product so that they can evaluate and review the service. Moving on to step 4, which is presentation. The buying process of the customer is very closely related to the sales presentation. The interest of a prospect can be increased through smart and lively sales talk with the proper demonstration by the salesman. Many a times, a sales demonstration takes place of visual aids. This is quite a common phenomenon for capital goods or machineries. It is important that the salesman find out customers' reaction after correctly explaining the product features and anticipated benefits. The customer should be satisfied by the end of the presentation. Moving on to step 5, objections. The prospect could at any stage of the sales interview try to delay or resist a purchase. An objection must be taken as a hint of how the mind of the prospect is operating. An intelligent salesman would welcome an objection, understand it correctly, and avoid it tactfully without bickering with the customer. Moving on to step 6, close. The act of getting consent of the prospect to buy the product is called the close. All the efforts that a salesman takes come together and present it as the pinnacle of the entire sales process. It is vital for a salesman to be alert and identify the right moment to close the deal. The right moment can be identified by watching every sign of the prospect and their will to buy and then applying the close. Unless and until the product is in the hands of a happy customer, the sale is never considered complete. Depending on the kind of business, a salesman might try one of these closing strategies. First, extra inducement close. In order to seal the deal, the salesman offers something extra to attract them. For example, a discount or a free month of service. Next, urgency. A feeling of urgency is produced by stating that the time is of the essence. For instance, the price will be going up after this month, or we have only 6 spots left.
And finally, step 7, the follow-up. Follow-up is the contact with the customer after a sale is obtained. After obtaining the order, the salesman arranges for dispatch and delivery, facilitate grant of credit, reassure the customer that it's a wise purchase decision, and minimize dissatisfaction if there is any. In order to maintain the goodwill, salesmen should get in touch with the customer. The follow-up is a crucial part that makes sure that the customer is satisfied and that the customer can be retained. It can also be used as a prospect for new customers. Now moving on to an example of sales process, B2B sales. An example for wherein we will talk about the sales process for Boeing and Airbus, which are aircraft manufacturers. Boeing or Airbus can be approached by a passenger airline company, the customer in this case, with a set of requirements and ask them to provide specific quotes. After starting a bidding war for the newly launched aircraft by Boeing or Airbus, whichever airline offers the best deal wins. Based on what aircraft have been procured in the past, Boeing or Airbus can offer the airline a reasonable proposition that could be interesting to them. For instance, Aircraft Interiors Expo in Hamburg, Germany is the world's biggest event. It is committed to the aircraft interiors industry, connectivity, in-flight entertainment, and passenger services. This is where Airbus showcased its latest cabin innovations in 2019. Airbus displayed the mock-ups for the latest, most advanced, full-scale airspace cabin, the A320. Moving further, it depicted how the aircraft offers the best cabin experience in any small single-aisle aircraft. The day and night premium concept was also featured for the A350 XWB. There was also a mock-up of A320 upgrade services. The highlight of all was that the virtual reality guests let visitors experience all aircraft cabins. And finally, did you know, sometimes a sales presentation by Boeing and Airbus can stretch up to 3 to 5 days. For sales pitches and demonstration, a team on behalf of the airlines, which are the prospective customers, are flown down to Boeing or Airbus's manufacturing location. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on steps in selling process. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on theories of selling. There are 3 theories of selling. First, stimulus response theory. Second, product orientation theory. And third, need satisfaction theory. Let's look at each one of them briefly, starting with stimulus response theory. Please note, all the theories of selling are basically behavioral theories. Let's move on to stimulus response theory. According to stimulus response theory, the buyer will respond in the way the salesperson wants him to. That is, to purchase the product if the salesperson uses the correct stimuli in the right strength or dose. Most common stimuli used by salespeople are: first, personality projection, as in the physical appearance of the salesperson, the skills, mannerisms, etc. Next, the product campaign. The company's product is presented as leading or with the price without overdoing it. Third stimuli, competitor killing. The competitor's brands and products are skillfully buried by the salesperson. Fourth, price concession. To provide price concession or price discounts on purchases. And fifth, preferential treatment to selected customers. Customers that buy in large volumes, make timely payments, or show loyalty to the company is given special treatment. There are some drawbacks of the stimulus response theory. First, the needs of the prospect are not understood by the salesperson by asking questions and listening. And second, the prospect might lose interest in buying a product since the salesperson has to provide the prospect with all the information about the product, like its benefits and features, which not be useful to the prospect. The example of a brand with an amazing stimulus response theory is Apple. Apple is known to dominate the iconic sensory experience it provides that projects a clean image to customers inside the store. The packaging is elegant and compact, and the color is sleek, minimal white. The design is simple and speaks more loudly in the world of clutter. So this is more like pushing the superiority of the product to the customer. Facts: Apple contracts a designer whose entire job is to create innovative packaging. The hired designer builds and tests countless versions of the box shape, angle, and tapes. The firm also has a designer dedicated to just opening hundreds of model boxes, as it isn't just about aesthetics. It's about how easy it was for customers to open, identify the component parts, and to start using it. In his book, Inside Apple, Adam Lashinsky says, to fully grasp how seriously Apple executives sweat the small stuff, consider this. For months, a packaging designer was holed up in this room performing the most mundane task of opening boxes. Moving on to the next theory of selling, that is the product orientation theory. In this theory, it is assumed that the buyer is unaware of recent technological developments and it is on the salesperson to make the buyer aware. In doing so, the salesperson would be able to induce the buyer into using or buying his or her product. In product orientation theory, the salesperson relies on explanations and presentations instead of the more aggressive approach taken in the stimulus response theory. Sometimes, subtle psychological pressure can also be applied by the salesperson. This selling approach is most commonly used for computers, pharmaceutical products, mobiles, etc. Following are the limitations of the product orientation theory. First, complex market. Second, customers are now aware of substitutes. And third, increase in competition. The example in this case is of Sony, of how it's demonstrated to the customers the advantages of buying their waterproof Walkman. Sony hired Auckland-based advertising agency named Draft FCB to campaign for their new Walkman Sports MP3 player. It was waterproof and all-in-one device with a 4 GB internal memory. A vending machine was repurposed into some kind of sales portal to showcase the product's waterproof feature. It was meant to attract athletes looking for a music player that was waterproof. The bottled Walkman was sold in gyms all over New Zealand from vending machines right next to neon blue Gatorade bottles. The idea was to place the product in places where the target audience hung out in reality instead of in stores. Therefore, this particular example is the perfect demonstration of a product orientation theory explaining the waterproof feature of Sony Walkman. Next, and the final theory is need satisfaction theory. According to this theory, the selling process leads to a mutual satisfaction between the buyer and the seller. Unlike the other theories mentioned, this theory is based on a win-win assumption. In this theory, before proposing a sale, the needs and expectation of a prospect must be ascertained by the salesperson. The buyer's points and objections, if any, must be carefully noted down by the salesperson. You must then answer the questions to satisfy the buyer. Moving forward, this theory has a high level of sales effectiveness. The relationships that lead to a satisfied and happy customer can be predicted by this theory. The importance of developing a professional partnership between the seller and buyer is highlighted in this approach. Many feel that the seller and buyer relationship can yield profits to the company only through this. Please note, the three discussed theories on selling are not interdependent to each other. In reality, all three theories are used in a blend by salespeople many a time to successfully close a sale. Moving on to the example of need satisfaction theory, in this case is Tesla. I'm sure most of you knows that customers can customize their Tesla cars. Tesla practices direct sales, unlike other manufacturers that sell through franchise dealerships. Tesla has formed a global network of company-owned showrooms and studios that are mostly located in famous urban centers around the world. Tesla has an advantage in the speed of its product development as it owns its sales channels and also enhances customer buying experience. As a result, their showroom have no clash of interest. Tesla houses about 429 locations across the globe at the end of Q4 2019, having showrooms, service plus centers, and service facilities. The brand also makes wholesome use of internet sales where buyers can customize and purchase a Tesla online. That is, taking care of the needs of the customer. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on theories of selling. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on national selling versus international selling. Let's start with the differentiation. Let's begin with definition. National selling. The sale of services and products within the regional boundaries of a country or a nation is called national selling. For example, sale of products within India. Domestic selling is another name for national selling. On the other hand, international selling is the sale of services or products outside the geographical boundaries of a country or nation. It caters to the global market. Next, market intelligence. Apart from data reliability being high, data accessibility is easy in national selling. Whereas, the data reliability is low while at the same time the data accessibility is difficult in the international markets. Moving on, political legal system. In national selling, the company is well aware of its stable political and legal system. Whereas, in international selling, the stability of political and legal system is not guaranteed and in turn affects the company's performance. Next, logistics. In a national market, it is easier to make a product available to its buyers at the right time and the right place. Whereas, various modes of transports are required for the transportation or logistics of a product to international markets. Example, ship transport, air transport, etc. Hence, the complexity, cost and time required are higher in international selling. Next, level of competition. Similar products are offered by fewer competitors in the national markets, whereas in international selling, the number of competitors might be higher. Next comes the risk factor. Since the market condition and business environment is familiar, the risk is low in national selling. Whereas in international selling, the market condition and business environment is uncertain and unknown, which makes the risk higher. Next, currency. The sale and purchase require a single currency in national selling, whereas in international selling, the exchange rate variations, or I would say fluctuations of international currencies affect sales. And finally, international laws. Domestic laws that are familiar and easier to follow for business and sales in national selling. Whereas in international selling, businesses and sales are affected by international laws of organizations like the World Trade Organization, trade treaties between host and home country, and trade blocs like EU, as in European Union. Now moving on to an example of Under Armour's national versus international selling. As stated by the graphs, in 2019, revenue in Under Armour's North American region decreased $76.9 million to reach $3.6 billion. In 2018, this amount was $3.7 billion. The rationale behind the decrease is that off-price sales in the wholesale channel fell. There was also a decrease in unit sales in the channel that sold directly to customers. A part of this was offset by favorable impacts of returns in the wholesale channel. It was driven roughly by $33.1 million of specific customer returns that were less than the previously established reserves. In 2019, total revenue in Under Armour's EMEA operating segment increased by $31.1 million to reach $621.1 million. Moving forward, in 2018, the same number was $591.1 million. Therefore, that increase. This was driven by the increased wholesale returns and sales made in channels that sell directly to customers. In 2019, total revenue in the Asia Pacific operating division went up to $636.3 million, an increase of $78.9 million. Thus, the number in 2018 was $557.4 million. The main reason was the increase in number of units sold in the direct-to-customer and wholesale channels. Moving on to Amazon. Amazon's North America net sale witnessed a growth from $117 billion to $160 billion in 2020. Likewise, in the international market as well, net sales increased from $50.9 billion to $66.9 billion in 2020. As far as Amazon Web Services are concerned, net sales increased from $25.0 billion to $32.6 billion in 2020, thus witnessing a rise in every segment. The next and the final example is Lego sales by region. Lego itself witnessed an increase in their sales from 2018 to 2019, roughly about 3 billion Danish krone. As far as sales of goods per region is concerned, the maximum sales can be attributed to the EMEA region, that is Europe, Middle East and Africa, which was about 17.08 billion Danish krone. At the same time, America has also witnessed an increase from 13.7 billion Danish krone to 14.3 billion Danish krone. Moving on to Lego's China expansion. Lego's growth in China has increased to 2 digits because of its brand and retail presence. This will continue in this year because Lego wants to have more than 220 stores in around 40 urban centers by the end of 2020. Lego wants to work on its e-commerce presence on popular platforms such as Tmall and JD.com. It also wants to continue working with Tencent and come up with an innovative games and digital content. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on national selling versus international selling. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on organizational selling versus consumer selling. Let's start with the differentiation. Definition. The sale of services or products from one business entity to another is called organizational selling, whereas the sale of services and products from one business entity to the final customer is called consumer selling. In organizational selling, the number of buyers is small. For example, 89% of the goods are purchased by 10 to 15 buyers. But in case of consumer selling, number of buyers is larger. Millions of consumers buy FMCG products. The nature of relationship. The buyers and sellers have a stable and long-term relationship in organizational selling, whereas in consumer selling, most relationships formed are for short-term. Next, the aspect of decision-making. In organizational selling, different levels of managers are required for the decision-making process. It takes a long time. Whereas in consumer selling, friends and families may influence the decision-making process. It takes a shorter period of time. Next, buying decision. In organizational selling, the buying decisions are made by knowledgeable and professionally trained people. Strict quality checks are conducted by them. Whereas in consumer selling, the buyers might not have complete knowledge of ingredients, components, or products. The decisions are made on the basis of brand value and the perception of quality. Moving on to negotiation. In organizational selling, a series of negotiations are conducted. In all aspects like delivery schedules, price, payment mechanism, etc., negotiations take place. In case of consumer selling, the scope of negotiation is very low. Moving on to the price and value of goods. In organizational selling, the price of goods and the total value of sales is higher. In case of consumer selling, the price of goods and the total value of sales is lower. Moving on to the closure of sales. In organizational selling, the sale is considered to be complete only after the payment is realized and the delivery is made. Hence, the sale closes long after the actual sale.
In case of consumer selling, the delivery and payment happen simultaneously. Hence, the sale closes immediately. And finally, the mode of payment. Credit and carry schemes are followed in organizational selling. The credit facility is valid for 3 to 6 months depending on the deal. Whereas in case of consumer selling, cash and carry schemes are followed. Now looking at a few examples of companies in the organizational selling space, one of them is Mclane. Mclane is an American wholesale supply chain services company. The company dispenses grocery and non-food related items to convenience stores, drugstores, discount retailers, wholesale clubs, military bases, quick service restaurants, and casual dining restaurants all throughout the United States. Not only this, it is also a wholesale distributor of wine, distilled spirits, and beer in some of the US states. Mclane is categorized into 3 segments. First, grocery distribution. The grocery distribution wing serves about 49,000 retail locations in US. Next, food service distribution, which caters to almost 36,500 chain restaurants. And finally, beverage distribution that services around 24,900 retail locations in Colorado and southeastern US. Mclane is a fully owned appendage of Berkshire Hathaway since 2003. Some of the key customers. First, Walmart, which was a former parent company of Mclane, is also Mclane's largest client with approximately 25% of its total revenue in 2017. Other prominent customers include 7-Eleven and Yum Brands. Going forward, Sam's Club, Walgreens, Kangaroo Express, Circle K, 7-Eleven, ExxonMobil, Target Stores, Kmart, Hess, Family Dollar, all are customers of Mclane. And as mentioned earlier, they're also into the restaurant space. Restaurant chains like Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut, all part of the Yum Brands, and former Young concepts like Long John Silver's are also supplied by Mclane Food Service. Moving on to the other example of a company in the organizational selling space, and that is Alibaba.com, which operates online. It's a China-based company. The world's largest e-commerce B2B platform, Alibaba, was launched in the year 1999. It is the leading platform for global wholesale trade. Suppliers are connected with buyers across the globe on a single marketplace platform by this international business-to-business site. Suppliers on the site manufacture and sell products in bulk to buyers. The buyers are generally businesses that are looking for the inventory for their company. Alibaba.com brings together hundreds of millions of products in more than 40 different major categories. These categories include electronics, machinery, and apparel. Hundreds of thousands of messages are exchanged between the buyers and suppliers on the platform each day. The buyers of all these products are located in more than 190 countries and regions. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on organizational selling versus consumer selling. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on market analysis. Let's start with the introduction. The activity of gathering and examining information about particular markets is called market analysis. It is a thorough study and investigation of the market. It is very important for sales forecasting or sales analysis. 6 major dimensions or factors are considered for market analysis. First, current market size. Understanding the current or actual market size is the first step of market analysis of a product. It is defined on the basis of total sales. Various sources, such as government, sales tax department, industry reports, trade association reports, etc., can be used to gather information about the market size. Next, market potential. Potential market size refers to the possible market size, whereas the current market size refers to the actual market size. The existence of unexplored segments of the market is indicated by the potential market. Third, market growth. The current size of the market is important, but the growth of a market is also either equally or more important. Although the last size of the market guarantees present sales, neither market share nor sales will increase without market growth. Hence, both market growth and market size are important for market attractiveness. Fourth, market competition. For the market structure of a product, the level of market competition is very crucial. Companies must seek to understand and assess the answers to the following questions. First, what are competitor strategies, objectives, and level of application? Second, does the competition have a cost advantage or disadvantage? What is their cost structure? Third, who are the most successful and unsuccessful competitors and why? What are the competitors' strengths and weakness? Answering the above questions will give companies clarity about market competition. Next dimension, market profitability. Profitability is affected by competition. More the competition, more difficult it is to earn a profit. The factors influence profitability are: first, the level of competition in the market; second, cost structure or product cost; and third, the product selling price. And the final dimension of the market analysis are the new trends and developments. New trends and developments are a crucial aspect of market analysis. They help understand the future direction and course of the market. A company's strategy, investment in the market, and sales planning is affected by this. Example, the trend of smaller packs in FMCG markets increases sales by attracting more customers and inducing frequent buying. Moving forward, now let's look at the market analysis example of the global electric car market. First, current market size and market growth. There was a 65% rise in electric vehicle sales from 2017 to 2018 as indicated in the chart on the right. But the rate of increase in units sold decreased in the year 2019 to merely 9%, which amounted to 2.3 million from 2.1 million. If not completely stopped, the rate of expansion has at least paused temporarily. Europe is the country with the maximum growth in electric vehicles. The global electric vehicle market penetration rose to 0.3% for an overall share of 2.5% between the year 2018 and 2019, even though there was an overall dip in sales. The EV penetration, in addition to the growth in 2020 first quarter, was 2.8%. Moving forward, market competition and market share. As indicated by the bar chart on top, Tesla was a brand with a 16.2% share in 2019. In 2018, its share was 11.8%. When it comes to market share by models, Tesla's Model 3 had a market share of 13.3% in 2019. Thus, it clearly indicates that Tesla is leading in the market. Moving forward, new trends and developments in the global electric car market. Switching regional dynamics with the United States and China, losing to Europe, is suggested by main EV markets. In 2019, 1.2 million units were sold and electric vehicle sales in China were constant. It accounted for a 3% increase when compared to the preceding year. As far as US is concerned, in 2019 there was a 12% drop in electrical vehicle sales. A mere 320,000 units were sold. In the same year, 590,000 units were sold in Europe, which accounted for a 44% rise. All through the first quarter of 2020, these trends resumed. As compared to the previous quarter, sales dipped by 33% in the US and 57% in China. At the same time, electric vehicle market in Europe rose to 25%. And finally, the trend of electric vehicle charging. 2019 witnessed around 2.1 million chargers more than in 2018, amounting to a total of 7.3 million chargers. 4 countries, namely Germany, UK, France and Netherlands, have 76% of Europe's total charging points. Fast chargers are getting more popular day by day. Most of Europe's and United States publicly accessible chargers installed in 2019 were slow chargers. But this is going to change soon as many ultra-fast charging projects have already been announced in Europe. So that's it folks, this brings an end to the topic on market analysis. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video.
In this video, we are going to cover the topic on market share. Let's start with the definition. Market share is the total proportion or percentage share of total sales made by a particular company in any industry. So what is market share? It is the proportion of a market that belongs to a particular business entity. A company's market share is its portion of total sales in the industry or market that it belongs to. Market share can be measured by volume or value. Market share by value is a company's total share of the industry's total sales in monetary terms. Market share by volume is the total number of units of a company sold out of the total number of unit sales in the market. Moving on to the importance of market share. Market share is used to get a rough idea of how large a company is compared to its competitors in market. Investors keep a close eye on market share. It shows the relative competitiveness of services and products offered by the company. Market share measures a company's preference for a product in comparison to similar products. A higher market share means more sales. Less effort is needed to sell more. There is a high barrier to entry for competitors. A company with high market share has an advantage. It can negotiate with distribution channel members and suppliers on better terms. So how to calculate a market share or the formula for market share? Market share can be measured by calculating the company's sales over a time period. Then we divide it by the industry's total sales over the same period. Therefore, formula is equal to market share equal to total company sales divided by total industry sales into 100. Let's take an example. Let's say in 2020 in a country, a company's total sales of passenger vehicles is 1 million units. And the total sales of all passenger vehicle units in the country are 5 million units in the same year. Therefore, the company's market share would be 20%. That is, 1 million units divided by the total units, that is 5 million units into 100, which works up to 20%. Moving on, let's look at the impact of market share. The first, economies of scale. When a company's market share grows, it lets it work on a larger scale. its profitability increases and it gives the company a cost advantage over its competition. Next, the obvious, growth in sales. Market share growth also makes a company's total sales grow. If consumers see that most of their peers are loyal to a brand, then they also want to purchase the brand. Third, prestige. If market share grows, it improves the reputation of a company. A good reputation then expands the customer base and increases sales. Next, ruling the industry. A company begins to dominate its industry when market share expands. Next, rise in bargaining power. If a market share is growing, then the company begins to dominate its industry. When dominance grows, it can use certain powers. Example, great bargaining power. Now let's see how to increase market share. First, the obvious, through acquisition. When a company acquires a competitor, it gets a new customer base. It also reduces the number of competitors and lets it dominate an industry. Its market share obviously grows. Next, through innovation. Innovation can be a new production method, new product, new technology in the market that competitors haven't offered yet. Innovation helps a company get an advantage over the competition and dominate its industry. Next, by decreasing prices. A company can also grow its market share by decreasing its prices. Lower prices will draw more customers. It expands the customer base and increases total sales. Thus, it increases the company's market share. Fourth, reinforcing customer relationships. Companies guard their market share by making their relationships with customers stronger. This makes sure its customer base isn't decreased by any competition. Companies use loyalty programs to improve customer relations, one that is done by Starbucks. Next, brand awareness. National marketing and brand awareness are very important for increasing market share. It's crucial that a company's name is known to customers. When a brand is a household name and is preferred by its industry, its market share increases. And finally, offering better quality. Customers are beginning to pay attention to a product's quality along with its price. When quality standard grows, a company's market share increases along with it. Now let's look at some examples of companies and their leading market share. The first example of Tesla. Tesla increased its global market share to about 16.2% in 2019, with the Model 3 alone accounting for 13% of sales. So as we can witness, Tesla's share grew from 11.8% of the total market to 16.2% in 2019. Other brands which witnessed a positive growth in 2019 are Volkswagen, Hyundai and Renault. Moving on to the next example of iPhone 12. The global top 10 5G smartphone model sales market share of October 2020. The iPhone 12 became the world's best-selling 5G smartphone model in October 2020. The iPhone 12 Pro, as we can see, which was launched alongside the iPhone 12, was the second best-selling 5G model for the month, according to Counterpoint Research. The iPhone 12 and 12 Pro together captured close to 1/4 of the total 5G smartphone sales in October. Third in line was Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G. Moving on, the market share of beer companies. As we can witness, the global market share of the leading beer companies 2019, Anheuser-Busch dominated the market with up to 30% of the market share. Key brands of Anheuser-Busch are Budweiser and Bud Light. The next in line was Heineken at 12.6%. And finally, the market share for smartwatches. As we can witness, Apple dominates the market with about 51.4%. In the first half of 2020, 69% of the total market revenue was earned by top 3 brands, Apple, Garmin and Huawei. The worldwide market for smartwatches saw revenue increase by 20% in the first half of 2020. This was in spite of shipments staying flat compared to the first half of 2019. This is based on Counterpoint's IoT service recent study. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on market share. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on sales forecasting. Let's start with the introduction. The process of foretelling the future sales of a company is called sales forecasting. Future sales for a particular period of time in the future is foreseen mostly in the next fiscal year. Better business decisions are made by a company with the help of accurate sales forecasting. Sales forecasting can be split into 3 types. First, short-term forecast. These foresee the future sales for up to 3 to 6 months period. Second, medium-term forecast. This foresee future sales for up to 6 months until 2-year period. And the third one, long-term forecast. These foresee the future sales for up to a 2 to 5-year period. Moving on to the importance of sales forecasting. First, sales planning. An estimate of the future sales is created with the help of sales forecasting. Hence, all the other sales-related activities can be efficiently carried out based on this estimation. Sales forecast will be the basis of all promotional efforts. Next, helps in production planning. All production-related resources and activities can be planned based on this forecast or estimate. Overproduction and underproduction can be overcome with the help of this.
Third, adequate purchasing of materials. Running out of inventory or having excessive of it may turn out to be a serious disaster. Sales forecasting can help you get an idea of the amount of inventory to be bought and if it is advisable to invest more on the same. Next, it helps in framing proper policies. Product policies are framed with the help of sales forecasting on the basis of different fields such as sales, production, inventory, warehousing, purchasing, distribution, etc. Next, reducing inventory cost. The amount of inventory required in hand at any point of time is predicted by sales forecasting. The company saves inventory cost by having the idea of the right amount of inventory. Next, reducing warehousing cost. Warehousing cost can be reduced and proper warehouse management can be ensured with the help of proper inventory management. Next, it also helps in tracking overall performance. The performance of every business firm needs to be assessed. They need to identify areas where the firm performs well and where the firm lacks. Sales forecasting keeps a check by comparing the actual demand with the firm's expectation. And finally, effective labor management. Labor management improves with the help of sales forecasting. It plans a training program for workers by estimating the number of workers. Now moving on to the methods of sales forecasting. The methods of sales forecasting differ from simple judgment to statistical techniques to ratio analysis. There are two areas in which these methods can be split. A. Qualitative techniques and B. Quantitative techniques. Let's look at qualitative techniques in detail. Expert opinion is used in this method to carry out forecast and is a judgmental method. When the past data is unavailable, qualitative techniques are used. Scenarios where no historical data is available, this method seems to be the ideal option, but this method can be time consuming. Some of the qualitative techniques are: first, expert opinion or consensus method. After the experts for the specialists in the fields meet, sales forecasts are discussed in this method. They can either be industry experts, consultants from outside, or senior marketing manager from the company. The team arrives at a consensus forecast and an estimate by each member is prepared and presented. Next, Delphi method. In this method, group consensus helps in developing forecast. A panel of experts is dependent upon this technique. 2 or more rounds of questionnaires are to be answered by each expert. A small summary is provided by a facilitator about excerpts from the forecast of the previous round and about the reasons that were provided by the experts for their judgment. The early answers given by the experts are asked to be reconsidered and revised. The range of answers during this process will decrease and the group will end up arriving at a consensus. There is a predefined criteria to stop the process. The criteria may be the achievement of consensus, the number of rounds, etc. Third, consumer survey method. Information about consumers' purchasing plan in the future is collected in this method. This is the most direct approach to sales forecasting as compared to others. When the result of the survey is analyzed, it in turn leads to sales forecasts. Sample size, the design of the questionnaire, and sampling patterns are the 3 factors on which the success of this approach relies on. Fourth, sales force estimate. This is also known as a grassroots approach. This involves the forecast provided by salespeople in the company. Prediction of future sales is made by each salesperson with regard to their own sales territory. The company's forecast is built by adding the sales forecast. The fact that this approach is based on forecasts provided by people who are close to customers and in the field directly is one of its biggest advantages. On the other hand, if this forecast is used to fix the salesperson's target, the forecast may end up being underestimated. The fifth method, sales hierarchy estimate. Sales hierarchy estimate approach involves sales forecasts made by sales management teams at different levels of hierarchy, right from your territorial salespeople at the bottom to the corporate sales manager to the top. This is also called a stepwise estimate. Estimates for their own territories are made by salespeople. The estimate prepared by an area manager consists of estimate of a numerous number of sales territories. Then the estimate prepared by a regional manager covers the estimate of different area managers. The estimate by each of these people is based on their individual analysis and understanding of likely sales and market demand pattern. The corporate manager is sent all of these estimates. The final forecast is prepared by the sales manager on the basis of average of these estimates. Now moving on to the quantitative approach. Here the analysis of historical data is the basis. Nature of this technique is objective. They include the following methods. First, moving average. The average of most of the recent period sales is used by moving average forecasting. It may contain a number of previous time periods. The most commonly used averages are 5, 4 and 3 period. Even though they are easy to calculate, there are some limitations to moving averages. They are unresponsive to sudden market changes. Apart from that, calculating forecasts with this method involves the updating and maintenance of a big amount of historical data. Next, sales ratio method.
The past trends in the sales ratio of a company are analyzed in order to estimate future sales in this approach. Following is the definition of the estimation of sales ratio. Sales during the current year divided by the sales during the previous year minus 1. The annual growth rate as sales is obtained on multiplying this ratio by 100. Third, market share projection. This relates the total market sales to the company sales and hence the competitive level of the company is reflected. Following is the definition of the estimation of sales ratio. Sales of the company during a particular period into 100 divided by the total market sales of that industry during the same year or period. The basis of prediction of market share is the time series data. The basis of company sales forecast is the market share projection. Fourth, regression analysis. This is a statistical technique generally used for forecasting purpose. A relationship between a set of variables that are integrated and closely associated is assumed in this. One of these variables is a dependent variable and one or more independent variables. The independent variables either impact or explain changes or movements in the dependent variable. And finally, an example of sales forecasting. In this case, sales forecasting by Tesla's Elon Musk. According to Elon Musk's expectation, by 2027, more than 30 million vehicles will be produced in the electric vehicle market. According to Musk, by 2030, Tesla is likely to produce around 20 million electric vehicles. This number, as forecasted by Musk, is 50 times higher than the 365,000 automobiles it manufactured in 2019. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on sales forecasting. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on personal selling with the focus on Salesforce. Let's start with the introduction. Field sales call is the age-old and the most authentic form of direct marketing. Many industrial companies depend majorly on professional sales forces or they hire manufacturers, representatives and agents to track down prospects, grow them into customers and expand the business. Direct selling personal force is used by many successful companies like Avon, Merrill Lynch, Amway, Tupperware and Mary Kay. Looking at the example of Avon had roughly 5 million average active representatives as of December 31st, 2019. It constitutes the number of representatives handing in an order in a sales campaign, adding up for all campaigns during the year and then splitting it by number of campaigns. Representatives profit by buying products directly from Avon at a rebated price from a printed brochure and selling them to the end consumer of the products. Moving on, sales representative covers 6 positions. First, deliverer, a salesperson, the responsibility or delivery of a product. Second, order taker, the one who takes orders inside or the one who takes orders outside. Missionary, someone who does not undertake orders but create goodwill or educates the existing or future user. Fourth, technician, a salesperson with extreme technological proficiency. Fifth, demand creator, a salesperson who finds creative methods to sell tangible products or intangible products. And finally, solution vendor, a salesperson who is an expert in solving the problems of a customer, frequently with an arrangement of the products and services from the company. Now moving on to the example of the Indian Direct Selling Association. According to Chetan Bharadwaj, the head of the Indian Direct Selling Association, the direct selling industry in the last 4 years recorded a CAGR of 16%. With almost 5.7 million direct sellers, the industry is valued over Rs 13,000 crores. That's roughly about $2 billion. Bharadwaj said that direct selling is one sector which grew even during economic downturn. Since a person does not require funds to join direct selling, more people come to this industry during downturn. We are telling our members that once we are out of the current restrictions, we have the potential to outgrow our past numbers. Moving on to the next example, Avon. Avon's partnership to deliver a global training platform for independent sales representatives. To create global training platform, the globally recognized leader and direct seller of beauty products Avon announced a partnership with Fuse Universal, leading provider of next generation learning technology. Under the company's business strategy to open up, one of the elements is partnership, through which it intends to set free the true potential of the brand. As Avon revolutionizes into a digital-first, social-selling fast beauty brand, the new training platform will transform the way the representative experience their training. Representative retention and their earning potential will increase as the platform will deliver fresh content to the representatives. An array of topics from beauty tutorials and skincare science to sales skills and marketing will be included in the training that will be delivered through the platform. And the final example on Tupperware. The company's products are primarily dispensed worldwide via the direct-to-consumer method, which means the products are sold to consumers outside conventional retail store locations by an independent sales force.
By December 2018, worldwide, there were almost 2,100 distributors, 110,000 managers, and 3 million dealers in the company's distribution system. In over 2 decades, Tupperware created a place for itself in millions of Indian households. The brand has more than 70,000 women as their direct sellers. Over the last 24 years, the brand's vision to inspire women to enrich their life, nourish their families, and power communities around the world has resonated deep within them and continues to this day. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on personal selling with a focus on Salesforce. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on selling skills. Let's start with the introduction. Selling skills are required for every form of selling. The skills required are different for different situations, and they entail the following. First, communicating skills. Second, listening skills. Third, trust building skill. Fourth, negotiation skills. Fifth, problem solving skills. And sixth, conflict management skills. Let's look at each one of them briefly, starting with the communicating skills. The ability to communicate is a very basic requirement in business, especially in selling. Salespeople should communicate daily with intermediaries such as distributors, retailers, customers, etc. to have successful sales. Achieving sales is the objective with which communication process begins. The salesperson should use easy language and avoid double talks to prevent miscommunication during the communication process. If a salesperson uses technical language, he or she should make sure that the customer understands what he or she means. Moving on, the communication checklist. Communication checklist should be used for proper development of communication by the salesperson. The checklist should have questions that a salesperson asks himself to make sure that the communication is moving forward on the right track. The checklist can be as follows. Am I finding it difficult to start a conversation? Do I disagree or agree with what other people say? Is my behavior annoying people? Am I respecting other people's time and interest? And is the language making me conscious? The attitude, discipline, approach, and bias in the communication process of a salesperson reflects through these questions. Moving on to the next one, listening skills. Good listening skills are very crucial for a successful conversation. Too much talk of sales during a sales process might leave a negative impression on the customer, since it shows the eagerness of a salesperson to convince a customer without solving their problems. Apart from patiently listening, listening skills also refers to the capacity or ability to remember the content of the communication. Moving forward, following process should be followed during listening. First, attention. It is the initial step in which customer reacts to a salesperson's presentation, offer, etc. The salesperson should note it down or pay attention to it. Second, interpretation. Interpretation assigns the meaning to the customer's words. The person tries to understand what the customer says. Third, remembrance. When the customer or the salesperson stores messages on content for future reference and follow-ups, it is called remembrance. Fourth, evaluation. The overall perception of a customer is evaluated by the salesperson through opinions, interest, queries, etc. And finally, response. It is when a salesperson reacts to a customer by expressing his opinion, accepting the company's price, making an offer, conveying the date, and planning for detailed sales. Moving on to the third aspect of trust building skill. Trust between a customer and salesperson is important in selling. Relationship and trust go together. Special skills should be developed by a salesperson to build the customer's trust. The following factors affect the development of trust between a seller and buyer. First, the competence of a seller to develop trust, since it reflects upon the capability of a salesperson, the knowledge of the product and the company's disposal. And finally, the commitments made by a salesperson, along with the credibility of communication, establishes the truth in the salesperson's words. Moving to the fourth, negotiation skills. Negotiation is a specialized skill that is common in the business of industrial products at both a global and national level. The various strategies of negotiation. Moving on, negotiation success depends on the ability of the people negotiating. Both strategies and skills are required for the same. Next, problem solving skills. The solution of a problem must be found, for which problem solving skill is needed. The 7 habits that can help become better problem solvers are: first, being proactive instead of being reactive and having a positive attitude instead of having a negative attitude. Next, initiative should be taken with new solutions and ideas. Third, while beginning, the end should be in mind. Fourth, the aim should be clear. Fifth, the priority should be given to emerging problems. Sixth, think of a win-win situation instead of a win-lose situation. And finally, the best in everyone should be brought out. And finally, we move on to the conflict management skill. Conflicts are unavoidable in sales organization. A disagreement of objectives, targets, and priorities can be the cause of conflicts arising.
Types of conflict in sales are: first, task conflict. This is a kind of conflict that arises due to the disagreement between the managers about the content of the job. It might be between the managers at different levels. Second, process conflict. This is a conflict that arises due to disagreement about how a task can be performed best. That is a choice between alternatives. Third, relationship conflicts. These are common among seniors, subordinate, peers, and managers. Fourth, functional conflict. This refers to a professional class between different operations or functions, for example, between finance and marketing. And finally, dysfunctional conflict. This refers to the negative conflict that has an influence on functions, performance, and operations. And finally, let's look at the methods to resolve conflicts. There are 7 methods, the first being lumping. This is a lack of desire or inability of one person to pursue a complaint. Here the relationship continues without the problem being solved. Next, avoidance. It is the exit from the relationship between two people. Third, coercion. It refers to one party imposing the decision on another. Fourth, negotiation. Negotiation is when the role of both the parties are recognized during the settlement of conflicts. Here the issues settle through a solution that is satisfactory and acceptable by both parties. Fifth, mediation. A third party resolves a conflict between two parties and reaches a settlement. Sixth, arbitration. A third party is appointed by both the parties on mutual consent, and his decision is accepted by both the parties. And finally, adjudication. It refers to the settlement of a dispute through a legal process. The decision of an adjudicator binds both the parties. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on selling skills. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video.
In this video, we are going to cover the topic on methods of closing a sale. Various methods are used to close a sale. The prospect's behavior towards buying and the nature of the content of the sales presentation influences the applicability of these methods. Depending on the product, quality, characteristics, features of the buyers, circumstances of the same must be considered by the salesperson to decide on which method to use while closing a sale. Any one of the methods mentioned can be adopted while closing a sale, depending on what is appropriate. Now let's look at the methods briefly, starting with the first one. Simply ask for the order. The easiest and most straightforward method to close a sale is for the salesperson to ask for orders immediately after the presentation. The question asked by a salesperson should lead the buyer to a decision. The answers might be positive if the salesperson is good. Second, summarize the presentation and ask for the order. In some situations, a salesperson cannot ask for orders straight away after the presentation. In such cases, when the opportunity arises, the selling points mentioned in the presentation must be highlighted, and then the order should be asked for or in a courteous and convincing manner. Third, narrowing down the choice. The variety of choices might be a reason for this indecisiveness by the customer. In such cases, elimination techniques should be used by a skillful salesperson to reduce points and in turn to make it easier for the prospect to choose. The salesperson may start by offering a range of varieties initially due to the nature of the product. The salesperson observes the situation of indecision, that is a problem of decision making during the presentation process. The salesperson can skillfully eliminate certain options by, after thinking of prospects, by saying, "Sir, ma'am, this may not match you or this may not be of your liking." The elimination of certain options will help narrow down the list of options provided to the prospect, and hence decision making will be easier. Fourth, action agreement. In some cases, it becomes impossible for a salesperson to ask for an order or summarize a presentation. If the range of product is not large, narrowing down the options given is also not feasible. Neither can the sale be closed due to the nature of the product, nor can it be closed after the first presentation or interview. Action agreement is entered in such cases which culminates later or matures into a close. These action agreements are generally required for pharmaceutical and industrial products. Since industrial products are expensive and buying them will involve a lot of money, most of the time the decision to purchase is not taken after the final presentation. Many issues need to be sorted out. Moving further, in such cases, salespeople do not close the sale in a hurry. The salespeople or the team responsible for the sales gets into an action agreement with the potential buyers, and both parties agree to take some steps to do certain things before the next meeting. This is the case in many pharmaceutical products. In case of pharmaceutical products, the doctor who prescribes the medicines and the salesperson get into an action agreement. Timely follow-ups, to pursue and persistent is what contributes to the final close. Sales should be closed at the appropriate time, as many evaluated criteria as possible should be scored by the salesperson. Next, the objection close. In this method, an objection by the prospect is used to close a sale by the salesman. The stimuli for the decision to purchase a product comes from the answer to the objection. When the presentation is progressing smoothly and the prospect asks a question that might hinder the whole presentation, the situation needs to be handled tactfully. Next in line is the concession clause. This is more commonly used and is the most straightforward approach for closing a deal. A final concession is given to close a deal. The concession acts as an inducement to buy the product. It is also called as inducement clause. Price discount is a very common concession method. Moving on, deferred payments, free home delivery, guarantee or extended warranty, credit with attractive rates, etc. can be forms of concession. Moving forward to suggestive clause. Sometimes appealing suggestions given by a salesperson may induce a buyer into placing an order. Example, a client may want to buy a window air conditioner. The salesperson might suggest a split air conditioner instead of a window air conditioner. The benefits of a split conditioner could be that it doesn't block any window and it is completely noiseless. Moving on to the eighth method, side clause. Sometimes buyer and seller don't agree on various points after the sales presentation. These points or side issues might include delivery, size, color, payment schedule, etc. In such cases, the salesperson realizes that the side issues are hindering the closing of the sale, hence inviting questions on the basis of the different issues are asked. The sale may be closed after coming to an agreement about the side issues. And finally, alternative clause. Extension of the side clause is similar to and also be called as an alternative clause. When a prospect is indecisive about a few points like features, delivery, quality, etc., but is willing to buy the product, this method is used. The salesperson gives the prospects two options to choose from in order to lead the decisions on these points. The prospect is confused and pushed into an indecision if too many options are provided. Selecting one of the alternatives out of the two might lead to closing the sale. This is a very commonly used method which makes the buyer feel like he or she got the alternative choice he wanted. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on methods of closing a sale. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video.
In this video, we are going to cover the topic on reasons for unsuccessful closing. Every salesperson works towards successfully closing all their sales, but they are not successful every time in reality. The following are the various reasons for unsuccessful closing or failure. The first being wrong attitude. The attitude or stance of a salesperson is very crucial to the failure or success of a close. Just like positive attitude helps successfully closing a deal, a negative attitude can be responsible for the closing of a deal to turn sour. The misinterpretation or misunderstanding of positive remarks can also have an effect on the outcome. The next reason could be incomplete presentation. Another fact that might lead to an unsuccessful close is an incomplete presentation or preparation. Unprepared speeches and cursory preparations by salespeople reflect on their presentation. The stages of selling process, namely presentation, demonstration, handling objections, introducing or prospecting, etc., are to be planned and executed in a standard and well thought of sequence. The third reason, external interruption. Due to external interruption, there are chances of lapse or discontinuity creeping into a sales presentation. This might happen even after a salesperson progresses smoothly into the presentation and to the extent of being near closing, but it is interrupted by a friend or relative of the prospect. This might change the prospect's mood for closing and in turn might ask the salesman to come some other time. This could result in the sale falling through. Fourth, misinterpreting the prospect. The prospect is sometimes misunderstood or misinterpreted by salesperson during the sales presentation or talk. Questions asked by prospects or their observations and statements must be looked at with the right perspective. Example, if a salesperson takes comments by the prospect like "we can consider your offer" or "your proposal is interesting" as an approval or a yes for the pitch, it is a wrong interpretation. And if this happens at a critical part of closing, the sale may fall through. Fifth, eagerness to close. The desperate need to close a sale might sometimes be the reason behind misinterpretation. Some salespeople lack the perseverance and the patience to close a sale all the way through the presentation. The salesperson might hurry the closing at the slightest positive response. If the prospects end up feeling like the decision is being forced on them, or rather being a pushy salesman, this eagerness to close the deal might backfire. Moving further, untimely close. Sometimes a delayed close might be an untimely close. Some well-informed prospects who are clear in mind might want the sale to close quickly. But delays by the salesperson who thinks that the presentation has to be thorough might end up making the prospect feel like it's a waste of time because the salesperson lacks the skill to close at the right time. Now let's look at an example of how Tesla faced the wrath of a pushy salesman. Billionaire Elon Musk responds to an unhappy Tesla customer on a Friday night. An unhappy customer posted a complaint tweet mentioning Elon Musk saying, "A terrible experience with a very pushy sales guy from Tesla Stanford shop while shopping for Model X.
To which Musk responded that it was certainly not okay, and he had sent out a reminder to Tesla stores that people should look forward to their next visit, as customer satisfaction was their primary goal. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on reasons for unsuccessful closing. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on selling strategies. Let's start with the first one. Hard and soft sell strategy. The focus in strategic selling is either on the customer or the company. Since the whole objective of selling is to serve the company, emphasis on the customer eventually leads to the emphasis on the company. The two different strategies or approaches for selling are either focusing on the company or focusing on the customer. Since the main purpose of selling is to serve the interest of the company, focus on the customer leads later means focus on the company. Emphasis on the company is called hard sell strategy. It includes doing things which seem to push the product and therefore is more like a push strategy. Whereas focusing on the customer is a soft sell strategy. It includes things that are done to make the customer ask for the product and is hence more of a pull strategy. Key differentiation between the both. Hard sell strategy is, as said earlier, is concerned for the company, whereas soft sell is concerned for the customer. Hard sell aims at pushing the product, therefore push strategy. Soft sell aims at persuading the customer to buy the product, hence pull strategy. Hard sell is a one-way presentation, soft sell is welcoming questions. Hard sell is talking over listening, whereas soft sell is listening over talking. Hard sell narrates the features of the product, whereas soft sell presents benefits of the product. Hard sales is advocating without acknowledging. Soft sell is about acknowledging needs. Therefore, in order to create a winning combination, companies try to unite hard sell and soft sell strategies. Moving on to the next one, client-centered strategy. This strategy assumes that the customer is supreme. This strategy is used in the case of industrial products where all clients are individually identified and some of the clients are large buyers. Large buyers need to be given constant attention from the seller for dispatch, delivery of goods, new orders, after-sales service or maintenance services, payment-related issues, etc. The sales executive or the company has to give constant confidence to the buyer or the assurance that they are always available for whatever services they are required for. The strategy or approach in conventional selling is product-centric, whereas this approach is client-centered. Moving on to the next one, product price strategy. In this strategy, the price of a product increases with the increasing quality of a product, or the price decreases with the decrease in quality of a product. Products like Omega watch, Mercedes car, Ray-Ban sunglasses are priced high. Higher prices are paid by customers for premium quality products. On the other hand, low quality will come with low price products. In selling, customer value is maximized or created by most successful companies. But for the customer, what is value creation? Does quality or price form customer value creation? Does the lowest price or best quality make for maximum value? Most of the time, it is neither the lowest price, that is unacceptable quality, nor the best quality, which could be unaffordable price. Acceptable quality with affordable price is a basis for optimal value. In both consumer goods and industrial goods or services, the golden rule for acceptability and affordability applies to a vast majority of buyers. This forms the product-price combination, which is the right strategy. Moving on, win-win strategy. A win-win strategy is created by the product-price combination. Customers feel satisfied if enough value is created for them. The salesperson or executive also becomes happy by making a sale with a desirable profit or margin. This provides both parties satisfaction, which is a win-win strategy. Win-win situations do not easily occur in real life selling because it is not easy to find the ideal product-price combination. Moving on to a negotiation strategy. In the case of industrial products at both national and global level, negotiation is common. Strategies based on negotiation are of different kinds. The success of negotiation in business and the success of using particular strategies depends on the skill of the members involved in the negotiation. It requires both strategies and skills. Given below are some of the negotiation strategies, the first being accommodating. Here, the relationship between two parties must be maintained at any cost. This is highly prioritized. The outcome of negotiation is given second priority. Next, collaborating. Here, both parties achieve their corporate or personal goals through the proper management of negotiation by maintaining interpersonal relation. This cooperative approach implies achieving a win-win situation. Third, compromising. This approach assumes that reaching a win-win situation is not possible. Here, the compromise made by one party results in the success of another party. Fourth, controlling. In this strategy, the power of aggression is used by one party to achieve its objectives over another party. And finally, avoiding. Avoiding is done when interpersonal relationships are not maintained or personal or cooperative goals are not met. Avoiding includes simply withdrawing or diplomatically diverting an issue, postponing it for a more convenient time.
So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on selling strategies. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on upselling. Now let's start with what is upselling. Convincing consumers to update their product or buy an improved, costlier version is called upselling. It is the process of pursuing consumers to buy a better and more expensive version of the product in comparison to the desired option. Ongoing subscriptions in place of a single purchase, higher, more advanced versions of the product, extended warranties, etc. are offered to customers while upselling. Advantages of upselling. First, more revenue is created for the company. Next, can hike profits for the company. Third, makes the customer experience more intimate. Fourth, increases customer loyalty and improves customer experience. Improves the lifetime value of a customer for the company. And finally, helps retain customers and encourages them to spend more. Next, difference between upselling and cross-selling. First, upselling is the process of convincing consumers to buy a more developed product than the one in hand, whereas cross-selling is a practice of offering complementary or related products to the customer. For example, French fries with burgers. Next, even though they are confused with each other, they both have unique advantages and can be very successful when used side by side. If practiced in the correct manner, cross-selling and upselling can be useful to each other. Without the recurring costs of various marketing mediums, they help hike revenue and improve the customer's value. Next, let's look at upselling examples. In this first example, Canva. As we can see, Canva offers a free version, then a Pro and another version for Enterprise, and the cost being from $0 to $12.95 up to $30 for an Enterprise version. Next, McDonald's. McDonald's has a new upsell strategy. Dynamic Yield, a tech firm bought by McDonald's in 2019, enabled it to provide its customers with a dynamic menu board, thus increasing the sale of purchases. McDonald's fused this technology into its acquired stores immediately. Based on the time of day, weather, and items already in customers' orders, McDonald's offers consumers suggestions of what they might want. The number of people visiting McDonald's has increased after that. Next, Amazon. As we can witness in the picture here, there are many options of the iPhone given there, starting from the right from the cheaper option of iPhone 12 mini, moving on to iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro, and iPhone 12 Pro Max. Next, Grammarly, again offering 3 versions. First, the free one, then the premium option, and finally the option for businesses. Next example of Spotify. Spotify offers a premium version which is ad-free, and also a version for the family. Moving on, what is upselling in a hotel? There are many options here. First, room upgrades. Offering room upgrade turns prospective into business. Next, packages. The value provided to customers can be improved by customizing packages depending on audience groups. Third, food and beverages. This can be in the form of complimentary breakfast, dinner for 2, accompanied suggestions by waiters, cocktail hours, etc. Next, in-room extras. Some good options for compliments can be movie rentals, strawberries covered with chocolate, wine bottle, or a premium minibar option. Next, minimum bookable nights. 6 and 7 nights in a premium room for a guest who has standard rooms reserved for 5 nights. Promotional offers and campaigns can be featured around this as well. Next, minimum bookable rooms. This is similar to bookable nights, except for the upselling being based on the number of rooms that are reserved. Upgrading rooms for a group booking of 10 rooms for a minimal price can be an excellent way to improve various guest experiences. Next, long stay discounts. Room upgrades can be marketed to leisure travelers or corporate guests who stay in a hotel for weeks by using their extended stay as an opportunity. Minimal charges should be levied for room upgrades offered while booking. Comfort is focused more by long-term guests than tourists, which can lead to a successful upsell. And next, shoulder nights. This is a very widely used strategy for reservation used by hotels. They try to tempt the guests to stay a few extra days by making their inventory ambiguous. Example, let's say a guest wants to make a reservation for a deluxe suite for 2 nights, a Tuesday and a Wednesday. The hotel front desk realizes that this is a great opportunity for the hotel to upsell, as midweeks are when they get least amount of reservations. So in order to increase the number of reservations, they implement the shoulder night strategy. The front desk staff gets in touch with the guest saying that they will not be able to honor the booking for that particular room type for those exact nights unless the booking included a day or 2 before or after. The staff would of course add that they would offer the additional nights at a lower price than what the guest was to pay originally. The guest normally would accept the offer and agree to add an additional night or 2 as it works out to be a good deal for them too. Moving on to upselling techniques. First, side-by-side comparisons.
Parallel comparisons of different versions of the product you sell can be a strong upselling tool. This is mostly used for electronics that have the various models with different provisions. Next, extended service period. An extended contract can be used instead of a product for upselling. Improved deals can be provided for an early renewal. This is the most useful for software services. Next, product protection. Protect your product is another preferred upsell technique on both online and offline mediums. It convinces customers to extend their warranty in order to safeguard their products for longer. Example, screen replacement warranties are offered for newly purchased phones. Next, personalize your upsell recommendation. Following recommendations are comparatively more successful. Following factors help in personalizing recommendations: being aware of purchase history being the basis of the recommendation, and finally, addressing customers by their name. Next, use urgency. Limited opportunities like limited quantities or limited periods must be emphasized in promotion. This could also lead to upsell. And finally, upsell after the purchase. Even though a product or its price is a focus of many upselling strategies, upselling can also be done after a product purchase is done. For instance, extending the warranty on your automobile or a smartphone. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on upselling. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video.
In this video, we are going to cover the topic on flash sales. Let's start with the definition of flash sales. Promotions and discounts given by an e-commerce store for a brief duration are known as flash sales. The quantity is small. As a result, the discounts are more significant or more important than the usual promotions. Next, what are flash sales? A flash sale takes place when an online store gives out huge discounts or promotion. This happens for a brief duration. There is a limit. Products aren't fully available. This convinces customers to purchase on the spot, which is also known as impulse buying. There are few aims of this flash sale strategy. Some of these are to sell surplus stock, increase short-term sales, urge online shoppers to impulse buy, etc. How does flash sales help? First, increases brand awareness. Flash sales offer a great chance to promote brand awareness. Flash sales can make one get noticed by blogs and deal sites across the internet. This increases the visibility a lot. Next, increases NPS and revenue. Flash sales are considered to be a blessing for a business. It can help achieve goals, projections, and increase profits and NPS despite its short runtime. It is possible that there is a lot of website traffic and increased sales in this period. Next, disposal can be difficult. Older inventory can be quickly removed, thus enabling the task of disposal. Fashion brands do this regularly since their inventory intake is seasonal. The new products come every few months. Next, create space for new inventory. Specialty and seasonal stock take up more time to stock out in comparison with standard products. And finally, break even on overstocked and items that don't sell well. Flash sale is an excellent way to sell off items. These items can be in inventory for a long stretch of time in large quantities. Back-end costs like the cost of inventory and operations are lowered. Poor selling and overstocked products also spend a lot of time on the shelves. Thus, flash sales does come handy to clear the stock and achieve break-even. Moving on to flash sale advantages. First, draw in new customers. Flash sales can be a way for consumers to try out products without spending much. If they are happy, then the firm earns a loyal customer who will keep purchasing many times. Next, create fear of missing out or FOMO. Sometimes stock and time window are limited. People who couldn't buy it first might want to make a purchase later due to the induced FOMO. They would surely keep track of future promotions and also sign up for the email list. Next, soaring customer loyalty. Attractive flash sale discount is a way of rewarding loyal consumers. When consumers really like a business, they are likely to purchase from it later on. Next, sell off extra inventory. Sometimes some great products might not sell as well as planned. A flash sale can clear out the inventory and make space for products that are in demand. Flash sale disadvantages. First, draw in the wrong type of customer. A flash sale can draw in one-time purchasers. Post-purchase, they never return to the business. Marketeers who are flash selling have to be careful on such pirates if they wish to attract new loyal consumers. Next, damages reputation. A flash sale can damage reputation if there's lack of clarity when running the sales. Additionally, if the business doesn't serve the customers well post-purchase, it affects the reputation. And finally, chances of decrease in profits. It is important to keep track of profit earned per sale. Sometimes profits are decreased by 25 to 50%. The firm has to calculate how it will affect the business in the short and the long term. Flash sale strategy. First, high margin products with enticing discounts. A good deal on a product with a high margin can boost profit. But there are better ways to earn money. After drawing in traffic, the aim is to get consumers to put in additional items to the cart. A threshold for shipping can be kept. This can encourage buyers to spend more. An upsell offer can be developed strategically. Next, make it live briefly. Flash sales depend on the consumer's fear of missing out. That's why they shouldn't last long. The ideal time span is between 3 hours to 24 hours. Flash sales that are 3 hours long increase open email rates by 59% more than average. Shorter sales time makes consumers more emotional. As a result, transaction rates are high. Next, it should be worded right. The criticality and the context have to be kept in mind. The phrase "save ₹99 on a ₹500 purchase" will not draw in many consumers. The offer should be framed in a way that guarantees optimal reach. Next, promote the sale in advance. Announcing in advance builds up hype for the flash sale. It creates crucial exposure that can make the sale successful. Shoppers can be made aware through exciting promotional emails and social media countdowns. This helps expand the reach greatly. Next, deliver fulfillment. Once massive orders are received, post-sale fulfillment is the most challenging thing to get right. This is where a flash sale goes wrong. Late deliveries can lose consumers. One must prepare in advance for mass delivery and shipping. This gives customers a great experience from beginning to end. Next, offer to ship for free. The flash sale can draw in more attention if a free shopping policy is added to it. If emails mention free shipping, the engagement goes up by 72%. Obviously, a minimum threshold for free shopping can be kept. This encourages customers to purchase more to qualify. And finally, make use of exclusivity. It should be marketed that the stock is limited. This creates an urgency for consumers. A small notification like "Hurry on, 4 products left" can encourage consumers to buy the product immediately. Moving on to flash sale examples. First, the 1/1+8 Pro. 1+8 Pro sale in India ended in minutes after stock runs out. On June 20, 2020, 1+8 Pro sold out within minutes. Next, Xiaomi. In April 2015, China's largest smartphone maker Xiaomi sold over 2.11 million phones in a 12-hour period, setting a Guinness World Record for mobile phone sales in the process. The company said it sold 2.11 million handsets in a 12-hour flash sale held to celebrate its 5th anniversary. And finally, an indicative list of some famous flash sale sites, namely Beyond the Rack, Climb, Doggy Loot, Fab, Guilt, and Group Deals. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on flash sales. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on designing a sales force. Let's start with the introduction. Designing a sales force entails the following steps. First, establishing sales force objectives. Second, sales force strategy. Third, sales force structure. Fourth, sales force size. And fifth, sales force compensation. Let's look at each one of them briefly, starting with the sales force objectives and strategy. In performing their jobs, salespeople complete one or more specific tasks, starting with first, prospecting, in which they search for leads or prospects. Second, targeting, that is deciding the allocating of time among prospects and customers. Third, communicating, that is giving information about all the products and services of the company. Fourth, selling, that is approaching the customer, presenting to them, answering their questions, overcoming objections and closing sales. Fifth, servicing, which entails providing services to customers like consulting on problems, offering technical assistance, the arrangement of financing, speeding up the delivery process. Sixth, information gathering, which includes executing intelligence work and performing market research activities. And finally, allocating, deciding which customers will get sparse products during a shortage of products. Moving on to sales force structure. The sales force strategy also has implications for its structure. Any usual sales force structure will be as follows. First, territorial structure. Every sales representative is allotted a specified geographical area. This structure is favored for developing relationships with locals. Next, product structure. Here the salespeople are directly connected with the scrutiny and growth of the products. It is used for the intricate and unconnected product portfolio. Third, market structure. Every sales force concentrates on a fixed market and helps promote a product effectively across the given market. This could have a disadvantage if consumers are situated over a large geographical area. It is used for companies that are operating in different industries or segments of the market. And finally, complex structure. This is used when companies conduct business of selling a complicated product to various customers over a big geographical area. Here, sales force structure is a mixture of other structures discussed. Moving on to sales force size.
Most productive and expensive assets of a company are the sales representatives. Sales and costs both increase when the number of sales representatives are increased. A company can use a workload approach to determine the size of sales force after it confirms the number of customers it wants to reach. Moving on to sales force compensation. The company must create an attractive compensation package to lure top quality representatives. 4 elements of sales force compensation must be quantified by the company. First, fixed amount, a paycheck that will satiate the need for income stability. Second, the variable amount, which includes bonus, profit sharing or commissions, must be established to incite and reward efforts. Third, expense allowance, which includes cost of travel, food and stay. And fourth, benefits, providing security and job satisfaction, deriving benefits like sickness or accidental benefits, health and life insurance, paid vacation and pension should be provided. Moving on, jobs have large proportions of non-selling duties, and jobs where selling duty is technically complicated and needs teamwork. In such jobs, fixed compensation is common. Variable compensation is the best option where there are cyclical sales or the sales are dependent on individual initiative. The 2 types of compensation give birth to 3 fundamental compensation plans: straight salary, straight commission, or the third one, a combination of salary and commission. Now let's look at some examples, starting with first one, Avon. Incentives for new Avon representatives in 2020. In place of Avon Kickstart incentive program, Avon started their latest incentives as a way to acknowledge and compensate new representatives. Through their campaign, Pathway to Premier Incentive Awards, new delegates got the chance to earn over $3,000 in their first 8 campaigns starting from 5th February 2020. How to qualify? New representatives could benefit from 2 types of bonuses through the first 8 campaigns. First, stepping stone bonus for every $200 in award sales. With a given campaign, one could earn a $20 bonus. Second, milestone bonus. 10% bonus could be earned for every $1,000 in award sales. Example of what a new representative could make. Assuming sales achieved is $1,000, then the total bonus plus commission would be $450. That is 45% of what you earn. If the sales achieved is $5,000, then the total bonus plus commission would be $3,250. That is 65% of what you would earn. Moving on to the next example and the final example, Tesla. Employees launched a petition to raise their salaries after Tesla ends sales commission. After restructuring and commission cutting in 2019, sales employees of Tesla started a petition to increase their salary. Tesla launched the $35,000 version of Model 3 in early 2019, and CEO Elon Musk said the price could be viable after moving all sales online only, which should lead to stores closing and a reduction in retail headcount. This resulted in slashed compensation for the retail employee and the first wave of closing stores. Later, Tesla reversed some of the changes, particularly when it came to shutting down of the retail locations and bringing back a portion of the compensation through sales commission. In October 2019, the employees were told that their already revised down commission structure would be eliminated. Sales advisors would get a 20 to 40% salary increase as they will be affected the most. A Tesla employee then started a petition to increase salary by 50% and it quickly got almost 400 signatures. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on designing a sales force. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on managing the sales force. Let's start with the introduction. The firm is guided by a lot of procedures and policies when it comes to training, supervising, recruiting, evaluating, motivating, and selecting sales agent to manage its sales department. Thus, these are the following steps. Moving on, let's start with the first one, recruitment. A capable sales force runs on the basis of good recruitment. For all fields, 20% is the turnover rate for sales representative annually at an average. For companies, sales force turnovers cause loss of sales, expenses relating to finding replacements, and training them. It puts pressure on the remaining salespeople to finish extra sales. Studies show that there is not always a strong relationship between sales performance and background experience variables, lifestyle, attitude, skills, personality, or current status. Asking the customer themselves about the characteristics they seek in a sales agent is one approach of good recruitment. Moving on to training. Agents have to be trained to be ahead of rivals. Customers today want the agents to be aware of the products, productive, reliable, and capable of adding ideas and improving operations. Training of new agents happens in a span of few weeks or throughout various months. On an average, it takes 28 weeks to train agents in industrial products, 4 weeks in customer product companies, and 12 weeks in service companies. It depends on the type of recruit and how complex the selling duty is. Training methods continuously evolve. For example, distance learning, videos, and program learning.
Sensitivity and empathy training is also offered in some companies to help agents understand the customer's thinking and situation. Moving on to supervision. Supervision is based on the profile of a product portfolio. When sales agent deals with clients, firms generally supervise the conversation. Another way of supervision is when firms try to manage time all the way from preparing for a client's call to closing a deal. Moving on to the aspect of motivation. Sales agents who face daily challenges are kept motivated by firms with encouragement and incentives. One of the essential features of management of sales force is motivation. Compensation plays a crucial role in increasing the level of motivation. Compensation is often assigned on the basis of sales quota. Family outing and social gatherings are some of the other motivational tools. All types of intrinsic and extrinsic rewards are reinforced by marketers. Moving forward, a research study found that the highest value of a reward for an employee was pay, promotion, personal growth, and a sense of accomplishment in that order. The least value rewards were respect, liking, recognition, and security. In simple words, salespeople find high motivation in increased pay and in finding an opportunity to get ahead in the race and satisfy their intrinsic needs. They are less motivated by security and praise. Moving further, sometimes firms also use sales contests to increase the effort put in sales. In many companies, annual marketing plan helps in developing goals like annual sales quota. These annual sales quota are set for dollar sales, unit volume, selling effort or activity, margin or product type. More often than not, the kind of compensation one receives is tied to the amount of quota fulfilled by the salesperson. And finally, evaluation. An important characteristic of management of the sales force is evaluation. A good starting point of evaluation is a sales report sent forward by the sales force. The sales report is the most important source of information about representatives. Other than that, extra information can be collected through personal observation, customer letters and complaints, customer service, salesperson self-reports, and conversation with other reps. The raw material for evaluation are supplied by the sales force reports accompanied with some other observations. The contrast of current performance set against the past performance is one type of evaluation. So now let's move on to some examples of Amway. First, Amway rolled out a new online training platform for its more than 3 million distributors. Amway created a newly redesigned platform called the Amway Education for all its independent business owners. These independent business owners are also known as IBOs. Amway Education platform has nearly 100 videos and resources tailor-made for the IBOs. An IBO traces their initial steps from launching a new business to helping others do the same. In the same manner, the courses fall into 4 categories which are built upon one another. As distributors recruit and guide other sellers, mentorship is crucial to Amway because of its direct selling business model. The exclusive material of Amway Education covers various topics like business etiquette, reading body language, negotiating, and other relevant skills which help IBOs to take their training a step further. Jim Myers, the managing director of Amway North America, said, "A huge benefit to joining Amway is that you gain access to education content that helps you start and build your business, hone leadership skills, leverage social media, and generally become a savvier direct seller." Moving on to the second example from Amway India, which includes skill development efforts. Amway has significantly contributed towards the development of skill and nurturing of entrepreneurship in India. The company has been in alignment with the Indian government's Skill Initiative with focusing their training procedure on enhancement of skills and competencies of its direct sellers. At the ASCOM National Summit Cum Awards on Skilling India 2019 held at Ranchi, Amway India was given the Best International Company in Skill Development. Amway's recent initiative to partner with the Retailers Association Skill Council of India was recognized by this award. Moving on, more than 11,000 direct sellers have been trained and certified by Amway till date as individual sales professionals. It plans to train and certify another 51,000 direct sellers by 2020. The company conducts more than 18,000 training sessions annually. Additionally, Amway also created a completely digital learning portal. The goal of this digital learning portal is to enhance the skills and knowledge of its direct sellers. And the final example of training amidst lockdown. Amway India was aggressively optimistic that its strategy focused on training digitally will help recapture business very close to the pre-COVID level by July 2020. The company affirmed that its online share of sales would continuously remain at an excess of 80 to 85%. The company's online business reached 90% during the lockdown, which in earlier Feb 2019 was just at 33%. But as a drawback, Amway fails to anticipate that it will go back to pre-COVID level in the future. All trainings and meetings with direct sellers have been shifted online. The company has organized over 3,041 online training programs since the lockdown, attracting over 4 lakh Amway direct sellers. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on managing the sales force. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on evaluation and control of sales performance. Let's start with the meaning of sales performance. In an organization's performance, sales is the most vital factor. The future growth of the company is based on its sales. In order to recognize the shortcomings of an organization's sales performance and to take necessary remedial measures, different perspectives must be used by evaluating the same. Annual revenue earned by a company reflects the company's sales performance. Higher revenue suggests better sales performance and vice versa. Similarly, every salesperson's performance should also be evaluated and measured. To do so, there are many methods. Management of sales force refers to supervision and control. Only proper control and supervision can lead to effective management of sales force. In spite of salespeople having good caliber, being trained and being motivated, optimum performance requires direct, necessary supervision and control. Controlling and directing the salespeople day-to-day activities is a part of leadership known as supervision. Several methods are used to supervise and control sales force. Following are the direct and indirect supervisory methods. Let's start with direct supervisory methods. The first method under direct supervisory method is telecommunication. Supervision and monitoring are done by sales managers through voicemails, fax messages, email, telephone, and computer-based systems. A laptop is given to employees by companies like HP, IBM, P&G for activities like call planning, report writing, etc. These reports are then to be submitted in prescribed format by salespeople on many aspects of their activities. The other direct method is sales meetings. Sales managers arrange for training activities, provide information on the changes in policies, and inspire salespeople to reach the required quotas through sales meetings. Third, personal contacts. The salespeople are visited by sales manager for many reasons, like for handling certain problems, by calling on specific customers, for acquiring market information, for team selling effort, etc. After the sales call, the salesperson's strength and weakness are discussed by the sales manager. Moving forward, the method of coaching. Coaching requires sales managers to concentrate on individual salespeople and continuously provide role modeling and supervisory feedbacks to work on their development. Coaching is the intense on-the-job training of salespeople through practice, demonstrations, and instructions. Respect and trust between salesperson and sales manager are required for successful coaching. The area of improvement for salespeople are discussed with them by sales managers after joint meeting with the client. Moving on to the indirect supervisory methods. The first being sales report. Sales report help monitor and evaluate a salesperson's activities. They generally include information related to the order contained, calls made, competitive activities, new customers obtained, customer needs and complaints. Next comes the compensation plan. Increasing and maximizing the money earned by salespeople is one of the most effective ways of encouraging them to carry out sales activities. Compensation plans affect the time and effort put in by salespeople on various activities and direct their activities. Next, sales analysis. The performance of salespeople can be evaluated through sales analysis reports. This is done by comparing what and how much sales happened within sales quotas. After this, the salespeople can be helped and guided by sales managers to achieve their sales target quotas or targets. And finally, expense account and reports. As we all understand, the sales job requires the salespeople to travel, which entails a lot of expenses. So in this case, expense reports keep track of the monetary spent on lodging, meals, traveling, and entertainment within the company's policies on different expenses in mind. It helps control selling expenses. Many sales managers are lenient with expense accounts, provided the additional selling expenses are made up with the increased profitability and sales by the salesperson. Now moving on to the final part, looking at an example of how Ritz-Carlton empowers their service and sales staff. As we all understand, in the hospitality industry, the employees are like walking billboards. And the fact that the customer returns to the hotel the second time depends on how he's been treated by the staff the first time. So in this case, let's look at Ritz-Carlton's employee empowerment strategy. Each employee, irrespective of its position, is referred to as the lady and the gentleman at the Ritz-Carlton. They are authorized to spend up to an amount of $2,000 per guest per incident. They are motivated and able to make quick decisions on their own in the moment to resolve any guest issue quickly or to make their experience beautiful and memorable. The concept is to create an overwhelming stay experience for a guest. As stated by Simon Cooper, a lot of the stuff that crosses my desk is not that they overcame a problem, but that they used their $2,000 to create an outstanding experience. For instance, there are stories about hiring a carpenter to build a shoe tree for a guest. In another case,
A laundry manager who couldn't get a stain out of a dress after trying twice flew down from Puerto Rico to New York to return the dress personally. And finally, when a waiter in Dubai overheard a gentleman musing with his wife, who was in a wheelchair, that it was a shame he couldn't get her down to the beach, the waiter told maintenance, and the next afternoon there was a wooden walkway down the beach to a tent that was set up for them to have dinner in. So in situations like that, the guests are delighted, and in that case, make a visit to the hotel again. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on evaluation and control of sales performance. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video.
In this video, we are going to cover the topic on ethics in sales management. Let's start with the introduction. Sales managers are responsible for their actions. They are also responsible for the actions of their salespeople. These managers work in the boundary between customers and organizations. Therefore, they are considered as boundary spanners. The managers work to link the customer to the firm. An ethical dilemma involving the fair treatment of customers as well as the organization or both falls upon the salesperson. Sales managers too face ethical dilemmas. The dilemmas include carrying out tasks related to sales management, like getting bookings from customers, pricing decisions, hiring salesperson, assessing salespeople, etc. Salespeople need to be honest while dealing with their customers. They should also have information about the laws that govern their business situation. Now let's look at some of the unethical sales behavior. First, exaggeration of benefits and features. Second, falsifying availability of product or service. Third, untrue answers to questions. Fourth, false product testimonies. Fifth, passing responsibility for their own mistakes. Sixth, warranties and guarantees being misrepresented. Seventh, granting non-binding oral promises. And finally, sale of dangerous or hazardous products. A certain code of ethics is set by sales managers that salespeople must follow in the organization. Moving on to the basic types of ethical codes. Ethical boundaries for employees as outlined by the company code. Ethical boundaries as established by professional codes for occupational groups such as advertisers, marketing researchers, sales representative, doctors, lawyers, accountants, etc. Then comes the ethical boundaries as defined by business association codes for people doing the same kind of business. And finally, government agencies or other special interest groups suggest advisory group codes. Moving on, every industry is confronted with the novel ethical issues. They must adopt the codes to meet the issue. A sales manager must treat salespeople with honesty, integrity, and justice. If they fail to do so, salespeople might have low regard for equal and honest treatment of customers, suppliers, channel partners, as well as co-workers. All sales managers must completely know and practice the company code of ethics, if one exists. This enables the salespeople to follow it as well. Moving on to an example of ethical behavior by Amazon. In 2019, Amazon unveiled Project Zero. Its purpose was to make sure that customers always receive original goods when buying from Amazon.com. Project Zero lets brands use Amazon to fight counterfeits or knockoffs across 17 sites globally. Project Zero has been launched in Turkey, UAE, Netherlands, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, Australia, and Brazil, to name a few. It is available in 17 nations and where there is a store. Project Zero mixes together Amazon's advanced technology and transformation with the in-depth understanding that brands have of their own intellectual property and how best to spot knockoffs of their products. 3 powerful tools involved are the self-service counterfeit removal, second, product serialization, and third, automated protections. Now let's look at some unethical practices in the Indian pharmaceutical industry. According to a study by Support for Advocacy and Training to Health Initiatives, SATI, bribes like e-vouchers, smartphones, credit cards, etc. given to doctors by medical representatives is a way for pharma companies to lure in doctors. 50 detailed interviews with medical representatives in 6 cities in India is the basis for the study. And it states, from high-value gifts like smartphones costing Rs 80,000, microwave ovens, tablets, silver items, gold jewelry to petro cards, credit cards, e-vouchers for online shopping are trends in the promotional practices among doctors. The main body in India for drug policies, Department of Pharmaceuticals, fined the big pharma company for their disobedience to rules. Prime Minister Narendra Modi told pharmaceutical companies to stop the malpractice in a meeting that was held after the outrage that Sati's report caused. A senior government official attending the meeting said, the issue of unethical use of marketing tactics has been escalated to the Prime Minister's office, which in turn made calls to some top drug makers and fixed a meeting with the PM. The PM told drug makers that their non-compliance with the marketing practices is pushing the government to create a strict law. He warned India's top pharmaceutical companies to strictly adhere to marketing ethics and not to bribe doctors with women, foreign trips and gadgets. He has warned about bringing in a statutory provision and indicated that the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers has been asked to start working on it. The Indian Medical Association, which consists of 3 lakh doctors, thought that the comment by Prime Minister was on the basis of unverified information and they wrote to him for clarification on the statement. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on ethics and sales management. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on management of distribution channel. Let's start with the meaning. Distribution channels are also called sales channel or physical distribution channels. The chain of intermediaries that goods or services pass through till it reaches end customer is referred to as distribution channel. Wholesalers, distributors, dealers, agents, retailers, and even the internet form the distribution channel. These are called middlemen or intermediaries. Producers are connected to the ultimate consumer through distribution channels. It is a goods route from the point of production to the point of ultimate consumption. It is called indirect selling when goods reach consumers through many intermediaries. When goods are sold directly to consumers, it is called direct selling. Zero-level channel is another name for direct selling. Depending on the number of intermediaries in the distribution channel, there are 1 to 3 levels. These are the levels of distribution channel. The first diagram on the left is level 0 because goods are sold directly from the manufacturer to the consumer. This is also known as direct selling. Next is level 1 where we have one intermediary, that is a retailer, between the manufacturer and the consumer. Level 2, we have 2 intermediaries. From the manufacturer, the products go to the wholesaler, then to the retailer and consumer. And level 3 has 3 kinds of intermediaries: wholesaler, jobber and retailer. Moving on to the functions of distribution channel. First, supply of information. The company gets information about the market through these channels. Example, information like new product brand, changes in customer preferences, new competitor, etc. Next, product promotion. Another important role of intermediaries channels is the promotion of products in the area of expertise. Next, financing of operations. Some channel members advance payment for the company's products and in turn finance the producer's operations. Fourth, maintaining price stability. Channels absorb whole or part of the price increase by manufacturers and help maintain price stability in the market. Next, title of goods. Many channels sell in the manufacturer's name after taking the title of the products. All these help distribute the market risk between the channel and the manufacturer. Moving on to the need for distribution channel. Distribution channel needs to be well managed since they lead to, first, channel efficiency. A company will get timely sales and business with an efficient and smoothly functioning channel. Intermediaries need to be managed and monitored to ensure a common objective of rising sales between all channel partners. Next, reduce distribution cost. Distribution cost for a company can be reduced with effective channel management. For example, the cost of storage and inventory can be reduced through the precise forecast of demand for goods. Third, role clarity. All channel partners perform their jobs well if there is role clarity among them. This role clarity is achieved when there is effective channel management. Next, reduce channel conflict. Channel management ensures that the conflicts between channel members are minimal. Next, ensures timely delivery of goods. Goods are delivered at the right place and the right time through an efficiently managed channel. And finally, ethical practices. Unethical methods are used by a lot of channel members to get more revenue. Efficient channel management would eliminate these unethical practices because it would ensure a smooth and transparent flow of products from producer to consumer. Moving on to an example of distribution channel of Nike. Nike's distribution channel is made up of 2 groups. First, selling products to wholesaler. This is Nike's most prominent way of distributing. And next, direct to consumer sales. This is both online as well as physical factory retail outlets. Nike also sells its product through its website. Consumers can buy sneakers directly from Nike. This helps Nike figure out what sizes and colors they like. As stated above, 65% of Nike's revenue comes from the wholesale channel and 35% from Nike Direct. Moving further, in 2020, Nike earned roughly 35% of its total Nike brand income. In the preceding fiscal year, the number was 32%. In 2020, their income earned by selling to customers increased directly to about $12.9 billion. In 2014, this number was $5.3 billion. In the year 2020, revenue through online sales was $5.5 billion, and in the previous fiscal year, this was $3.8 billion. Nike's distribution centers. There are 7 big Nike distribution centers in the US. The 4 are in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. Out of these 4, 2 are on lease, the other 2 are owned. Indianapolis, Indiana has a distribution center, as does Dayton, Tennessee. Both of these are on lease, and third-party logistic providers manage these. There is also one center that has been leased out in Ontario, California. Outside of the country, Nike has a total of 74 distribution centers. Some of these have been leased to third-party logistic providers who manage them. The final example of distribution channel of Tesla, direct sales. Franchise dealerships outlets are used by most car companies. Tesla, however, sells directly to customers. Tesla owns showrooms and galleries all across the world. Most of these are in well-known cities. The company has ownership of a sales channel. This way, they believe they can increase the speed by which products are made. One of its most significant benefits is that customer experience while purchasing a product is impressive. The sales team and the service staff consumers get to speak to all employees of Tesla. Tesla owns service facilities, Service Plus centers and showrooms. By the end of 2019, the company owned 429 locations across the globe in total. The company also sells products online. Thus, consumers get to customize the products before buying. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on management of distribution channel. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video.
In this video, we are going to cover the topic on choice of distribution system. Let's start with the introduction. Keeping the feasibility of the company in mind, a distribution system should be carefully chosen. The type of product offered for sale, company's brand image, buying behavior towards the product, etc. are also important factors while determining a distribution. A distribution system may be selected on the basis of such factors under the following options. And the options are: first, intensive distribution; second, selective distribution; and third, exclusive distribution. Let's look at each one of them briefly, with the first one being intensive distribution system. Using all available outlets, intensive distribution focuses on providing saturation coverage of the market. Extensive distribution of the product is the main objective. When a range of acceptable brands is available for customers, intensive distribution is required. It can be said that if one brand is unavailable, a customer may simply choose another. In order to distribute the product, all the possible outlets can be used in this alternative. In products like soft drinks, distribution strategy is particularly useful. In these products, distribution is the main success factor. For the products to be easily available, the firms dispense their brands through varied outlets. Hence, these brands are accessible in restaurants and 5-star hotels, at the same time are available through small drink stall, kiosk, etc. Let's look at an example of intensive distribution system, in this case the brand 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven opened its 71,100th retail store in the world and crossed a very important milestone on July 13, 2020. The store was inaugurated in South Korea. The brand has licensed stores and franchises all over the world. Including the 11,800 retail stores in North America, they have stores in 17 countries. The president of the retail brand, Jody Pinto, says, 7-Eleven's iconic orange, green and red stripes are easily recognized in 17 countries all over the world. In 1927, 7-Eleven was launched as a convenient retailing store in Dallas, Texas. This was after a Southland Ice Company, currently 7-Eleven employee, Jefferson Green, Uncle Johnny, began selling milk, eggs and bread from an ice dock since the grocery shops were shut down. Moving on to the next example under intensive distribution system is Parle-G. Parle Products Private Limited is the owner of a well-known biscuit brand Parle-G and is an Indian food products company. Around 5 million retail stores across India sell total 1 billion Parle-G packets every month. People say that if biscuits' monthly production is arranged side by side, it could cover 7.25 lakh kilometer distance from the moon to the earth. The first FMCG brand that crossed the mark of Rs 5,000 crore retails in India was Parle-G, says Nielsen survey. In addition to this, the brand has a huge consumer base in China and sells more than any other biscuits brands there. According to the survey, at any given second in India, around 4,500 Parle-G biscuits are being consumed. Moving to the next system, selective distribution system. A producer uses a limited number of outlets geographically to sell products in selective distribution. More control over outlets is ensured. One of the advantages is that the producer focuses and chooses the most appropriate or best performing outlets and enables efforts like training on them. Selective distribution works best when consumers search for the outlets that supply their preferred brand or price. Here, some outlets are chosen to distribute products. The selling effort of manufacturing firm is focused on fewer outlets in this alternative. A good working relationship can be established with channel members through this channel of distribution. A manufacturer can gain optimum market coverage with the help of selective distribution. More control at a lesser cost than intensive distribution can also be gained. The example in this case is McDonald's and its franchisees. They serve a locally relevant menu of exceptionally good quality food and beverages in a staggering 119 countries. The business model and efforts of McDonald's restaurants have made it a household name all over the world. At the end of 2019, out of our roughly 38,700 restaurants, roughly 36,000 were franchised, which is a share of 93% of total McDonald's restaurants. In India, McDonald's does not directly offer the franchise of its company. Two people are responsible for it, Amit Jatia and Vikram Bakshi. Amit Jatia is a vice chairman of Hardcastle Restaurants Private Limited, who overlooks the west and south part of India, whereas Vikram Bakshi, the leading man of Connaught Plaza Restaurants Private Limited, has the responsibility to look after the franchise sales of north and eastern parts of India. Of late, there are some issues between Vikram Bakshi and McDonald's. And finally, the exclusive distribution system. An extreme form of selective distribution is exclusive distribution. Here, one or maximum two wholesaler, retailer or distributor is used. When a firm chooses to distribute its brand through just one or two influential outlets in the market, it is said to be using an exclusive distribution strategy. These outlets exclusively deal in the particular brand and not all competing brands. The manufacturer expects to have control over the intermediary's price, promotion, credit inventory, service policies as a common form of distribution rights. Aggressive selling by such outlets benefits the firm. The example in this case is Reliance Brand Limited. Ranging from luxury, bridge to luxury, high premium and high street lifestyle, Reliance Retail has a portfolio of over 45 international brands. Reliance Brands Limited possesses the rights to run super premium global brands in India. Some of these premium brands include Diesel, Gas, Superdry, Brooks Brothers, Burberry, Coach, Giorgio Armani, Hamleys, Jimmy Choo, Kate Spade, New York, and Steve Madden. And the other example of exclusive distribution system is of Domino's and Jubilant FoodWorks. In India, Sri Lanka, Nepal and Bangladesh, the master franchisee of Domino's Pizza is Jubilant FoodWorks. Jubilant FoodWorks possesses the sole and exclusive rights to own and operate Domino's Pizza restaurant in all these territories. So that's it folks, this brings an end to the topic on choice of distribution system. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on channel partners. Let's start with the introduction. Marketing intermediaries are also known as middlemen, distribution intermediaries or channel partners, and a big part of production distribution channels. The smooth moving of a product from the manufacturer to the end user is only possible due to channel partners. They facilitate the sales process. Many channel partners like wholesalers, distributors, and retailers take physical possession of goods and also pay for it. They are held responsible for the inventory holding or stock in their possession. Companies strive to choose the best marketing channels as well as the best channel partners. Strong channel partners like Walmart turn a profit through products by promoting and selling them that might not otherwise be possible for its producer. Let's look at the types of channel partners, starting with wholesalers. Wholesalers generally act as intermediaries who buy in bulk and seek to sell to resellers instead of retailers. Cundiff and Still say, wholesalers buy and resell merchandise to retailers and other merchants, and to industrial, institutional and commercial users, but do not sell in significant amounts to ultimate consumers, as in the end consumer. S.E. Thomas says, the wholesale trader is a trader who purchases goods in large quantities from manufacturers and resells to retailers in small quantities. Other businesses buy products and get physical input from wholesale business. Tangible goods and wholesaling are closely related. Moving on to the functions of wholesalers, starting with the first one, assembling goods. Since wholesalers are aware of the quantity, quality, and type of products that their customer need, they are able to place orders with their suppliers. Next, distribution of goods. Wholesalers help conveniently distribute goods. Third, the producer concentrates on manufacturing and the wholesaler handles the sale to retailers. Fourth, provides a trained sales force. A trained force for selling its products in the local market is provided by wholesalers. The sales force is efficient and they ensure that products reach the retailers and are sold. Fifth, they help in marketing and research. Marketing activities are conducted by wholesalers to increase awareness about products. Research is conducted by wholesalers to understand sales-related problems with reference to the products. Then the manufacturers are informed to make changes in the products if needed. Moving on, they help reduce physical distribution cost. Goods from manufacturers are bought in bulk by wholesalers and hence the distribution cost for manufacturer decreases. They also help in warehousing and delivery facilities. Warehouse and delivery facilities are provided by wholesalers to store goods. Hence the risk of loss of goods is faced by the wholesaler. They also deliver goods to retail outlets. Next, credit facilities. Credit is given to retailers by wholesalers whenever required, but they make sure that the sales of the product are not affected. Ninth, they also help in advertisement. PR and advertisement for products is undertaken by wholesalers to increase their sale. And finally, the entire function of wholesaler also depends on undertaking risk. The risk of theft, obsolescence of inventory, and deterioration is undertaken by wholesalers. Moving on to the other channel partners, distributors. The distributor delivers some of the same duties that the wholesaler does, but usually take a more active role. Under the following three circumstances, a distributor might be required. First, when a new town is entered. Second, when additional coverage is needed in the same town. And third, when an existing distributor needs to be replaced. The potential for the company business to decide the number of distributors required and whether a town can sustain full-fledged distributor needs to be assessed when entering a new place with a distributor network. Profiling is done for the chosen town along with profiling of the current and potential competitors and the channels that they operate in town. It is necessary to understand the cost of servicing in the market after it is understood whether the town can support more than one distributor. Some of the functions of distributors are: first, selling. A distributor mainly concentrates on making products available in the market. It is an important function for a distributor to make it convenient for potential buyers to purchase products. Second, promotion. Distributors can also take over promotion, even though manufacturers generally arrange for the general promotion through press releases, trade magazine, or articles about the products. It is easier for distributors to arrange for discount coupons and in-store promotions since they have contractual relationship with retailers. Third, customer service. Even though distributors do not have training to manage in-depth technical support, they are generally good as the first contact for customer service. Some distributors have communication facilities and the personnel that allow them to handle customer calls in a more effective way than manufacturers. Fourth, they also help in market research. Distribution companies tend to collect more market information in the field of their business as compared to manufacturers, since that are closer to the market. Feedback on customer satisfaction, trends, and competitors' positioning is very important in markets that change quickly and the markets that require responses to the manufacturing side's market events. And finally, financing. Financially strong distributors offer finance for customers for larger purchases. Favorable repayment terms and advantageous rates can increase sales. Third-party financial companies help finance distributors who cannot handle financing themselves. Moving on to the third channel partner, retailers. Goods are purchased through many distribution channels and sold in small quantities to customers directly by retailers or merchants. Their main goal is earning a profit. Functions performed by retailers. First, and the obvious one, breaking bulk. To reduce transportation, manufacturers choose to ship products in bulk quantities. It is easier and more cost-effective for manufacturers to pack and ship merchandise in larger quantities rather than the smaller ones. At the same time, customers, as in the end consumers, prefer to purchase goods in manageable, smaller quantities. After purchasing larger quantities from manufacturers, retailers sell smaller quantities to the customers as per the customer's requirement. This is known as breaking bulk. Second, they help providing assortments. A variety of services and products are collected from numerous sources by retailers and then offered as collection to the customers. Offering an assortment gives the customer a wide selection of designs, brands, colors, size, and prices to choose from all at one location or store. Next, they help in holding inventory. Holding inventory helps the retailer keep the broken down inventory that they use to provide the customer user-friendly and smaller sizes whenever they're required in check. Fourth, they help provide convenient timing and location. The location of stores are chosen by retailers and kept open for longer hours in order for customers to conveniently locate them and fulfill the customer's requirement of services and goods whenever needed. Example in this case is 7-Eleven stores. Next, they also help in providing services. Services that make it easier for consumers to use and buy products are offered by retailers. This may be in the form of credit by which a customer uses a product now and pays for it later. This happens typically in India in mom and pop stores. Services may also be in the form of space being provided to display the products for the customer to see before buying. Next, retailers also help in recording and providing feedback. Feedback and transactions from customers are documented by the retailers and then notified to wholesalers and manufacturers in the form of forecasts, customer complaints, defective items, inventory turnover, and other information. This helps manufacturers and wholesalers to modify the services and goods to increase their sales and satisfy customers better. Next and final, they also help in increase the value of products and services. Assortments are provided, bulks are broken down, inventory is held, convenient timing and location are offered, services are provided, and feedback is recorded and provided, which in turn increase the value that is provided to customers by services and products. Now moving on to an example of a very famous wholesaler, Mclane. Mclane is an American large-scale supply chain services company. The company dispenses grocery and non-food related items to convenience stores, drugstores, discount retailers, wholesale clubs, military bases, quick service restaurants, and casual dining restaurants all throughout the United States.
Not only this, but it is also a wholesale distributor of wine, distilled spirits, and beer in some of the US states. Mclane is organized into 3 segments. First, grocery distribution. Grocery distribution wing serves about 49,000 retail locations in the country. Next, food service distribution. The food service distribution category caters to almost 36,500 chain restaurants. And finally, beverage distribution. The beverage distribution section services around 24,900 retail locations in Colorado and southeastern US. Mclane is a fully owned appendage of Berkshire Hathaway since 2003. Moving on. Key customers of Mclane include Walmart, which was a former parent company of Mclane. Walmart is also Mclane's biggest client with about 25% of its total revenues in the year 2027. Other prominent customers include 7-Eleven and Yum Brands. The next example of the distribution system of Under Armour. By looking at the pie chart on the left, we can understand that wholesale channel, as marked in blue, are responsible for most of Under Armour's sale. This includes supplying to department store chains, independent and specialty retailers, and national sporting good chains, teams, and institutional athletic departments and leagues. Products are also directly sold to customers with the help of e-commerce websites and network of factory house and brand stores owned by Under Armour. This is marked in grey, accounting to 34%. In 2019, it got 60% of its net revenues from wholesale, as stated above, 34% from selling directly to the customer, 3% from licensing, as marked in yellow, and 3% from connected fitness channel, marked in green. Connected fitness, as stated, is nothing but digital advertising through platforms like MapMyFitness, Endomondo, and MyFitnessPal, along with digital fitness subscriptions which are offered by Under Armour. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on channel partners. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on factors affecting distribution strategy. Sales or marketing strategy objective is the development of effectual distribution strategies. Lots of factors govern the development of a distribution strategy. Let's understand these factors. First, locational demand. It is a distribution of demand in several geographic locations or areas. The magnitude or nature of a distribution network is heavily influenced by the dispersion of demand. Demand patterns vary from place to place every once in a while. Whereas some locations might showcase a high demand for a product, other locations might showcase a lower demand for the same. The distribution network has to continuously adapt to the changing demand patterns. Example, speedily changing markets need more efficient and frequent distribution systems to be developed. But in locations where the demand is diminishing, logistics may be retracted. Next, product characteristics. This refers to the product's characteristics like volume, value, weight, type, etc. The cost and planning of the distribution network are affected by the product characteristics. Some consumer products and most industrial products are high volume, heavy weight items. Stock of such products are replenished less frequently. FMCG products are lightweight, small, and require frequent replenishment due to their high turnover rates. FMCG products are sold more frequently as compared to consumer durables. Hence, FMCG and industrial products have different distribution strategies. Moving to the third factor, pricing policy. The price or cost element in a product is its pricing policy. Frequent replenishment of stock is not required if the company acquires a good margin through its premium pricing policies. Example, Nike shoes. But in the case of products like Dove, Lux, Tide and Surf, which are FMCG products, the stock needs to be replenished frequently due to its high turnover. Hence, distribution and logistics must be worked out on the basis of product type. In this strategy, the logistic cost of distribution is passed on to the buyer. Moving to the fourth, speed and efficiency. The speed of replenishment or delivery, accuracy, and order filling speed is referred to as speed and efficiency. These indicate customer service classification that relate to serving the customer's needs at the right time and place. Levels of customer service include warehousing, inventory of finished goods, and cost of transportation. Hence, the service speed, cost, and efficiency must be compatible with the resulting customer satisfaction. And finally, the factor of distribution cost. It is a percentage or proportion of sales that form the total cost of distribution. For the marketing department, it is a budgetary factor. Distribution spending requires periodic planning and reviews. The distribution cost for a high-value product like machinery and laptops could be 10% or less. In case of FMCG products, mainly for food products, 25 to 30% may be the distribution cost. Hence, elements of distribution cost must be examined individually for the cost to be minimum. The areas as mentioned earlier are what the company's distribution strategy depends on. A suitable distribution strategy can only be formulated for a company after taking all the above aspects into consideration. Moving on to an example of Tesla. Tesla does not operate through third-party dealers. Tesla's approach towards work is different from other traditional automakers.
They entirely skip franchises with the help of direct sales, thus saving a lot of cost. This provides them with a better control over the customer's buying experience. Tesla continues that they cannot rely on third-party dealerships to adequately explain to their customers the upper hand that their cars have over conventional vehicles with an internal combustion engine. It is because of this approach towards business that Tesla faced many dealership disputes in multiple US states because of the local laws. As of September 2020, Tesla operated more than 130 stores and galleries in the US. It also has its own stores and galleries in 34 other countries. They own all the stores and sell to customers directly via the internet and also in non-US stores. Moving on to the other example of Nike's distribution strategy. Nike has discontinued its collaboration with a number of major retail partners in US. With the aim to reach customers as much as possible, Nike has been speeding up its direct sales strategy. Nike announced a triple XX strategy, their growth plan in 2017. The company made a promise to double its cadence and impact of innovation, double its speed to market, and double its direct connections with customers. Nike has siphoned sales to its own website and networks of stores by reducing number of retailers selling their products. And this move of directly reaching the customer is part of their consumer direct offense. Direct-to-consumer growth accounted for 33% of Nike's revenue in FY20, up 3% from FY 2019. So currently, Nike has been focusing on online sales and its own shops instead of the wholesale channel, thereby bringing their cost down. So that's it, folks. So this brings an end to the topic on factors affecting distribution strategy. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on factors affecting distribution channels. Now, this particular topic will be covered in 3 parts. This video is part 1. In total, there are 9 factors that affect distribution channels. In this video, we'll be covering the first 3. Let's start with the first one, channel design. Channel management begins with planning and designing channel systems. By channel, we mean distribution channel. There might be some changes or modifications made while the system is being applied. This leads to the final selection of channel members or partners. It is important to design and implement the channel system and strategy well. This lets companies increase their ability to complete projects more efficiently. Important questions which need to be asked. First, how long should be a channel? That is, what number of channel members does the distribution network need? Next, what are the roles, responsibilities, activities of each individual channel member? Are there any doubts about these roles and responsibilities? Third, do channel members know the relationship they are supposed to share? Is it completely clear to them? Next, how should channel members' performance be evaluated? How often should these performance be judged? And finally, what should be an appropriate control system for managing the channel members? Moving on to the second, channel policy. A few channel policies should be thought of for proper functioning of the channel system while it is being developed. One can also say that the channel policies should help decide how a channel system is being designed. Many important areas or factors are covered by these policies. The 6 major policy areas are: first, market coverage. Sales policy decides which market should be serviced. These can be industrial products, consumer durables, or FMCGs. Next, channel coverage and servicing. This follows in part from market coverage. First, it is decided which market should be covered. After that, it is determined what number of channels to be covered should be or the number of channel members who will serve these markets. Third, a company's channel policy decides which products will be sold through these channels. Ideally, products of a different or dissimilar kind should be sold through different channels. Fourth, product pricing. This is a sensitive issue. It is difficult to set a correct policy for pricing. This is because the channel members of a company who help set pricing policy directly influence their margins. Next, choice of channel partners. Policy decides this choice. It is important to understand how this policy is applied. Channels of wholesalers and retailers are usually independent. This excludes company showrooms and exclusive dealerships. So the question of selection does not arise in this case. But company policy does decide how CRF agents, distributors, franchise showrooms, and exclusive dealers are selected. And finally, termination of channel partners. Channel partners are distributors who link the company to channel members lower down the system. This mostly happens when distributors start working with another company, especially when it is a rival firm. Moving on to the third, that is channel conflict. When a channel member competes with its channel partner or a vendor's internal sales department, it is known as channel conflict. In this situation, channel partners might try to undercut each other. This could cause companies and partners to make losses. This makes channel partners inefficient. It also creates unnecessary situations and problems in sales. At times, partners come to agreement to avoid channel conflict. An example of this is the deal registration between manufacturer and a channel partner. Moving on to the types of channel conflicts. First, vertical level conflicts. A difference of opinion between two channel members on consecutive levels is known as a vertical conflict.
Example, if a toy manufacturer's product arrive at retail stores later than expected, there might be a conflict between the manufacturer and the wholesaler who ships to the retailers. Next, horizontal level conflicts. As the word stated, when there is a lack of agreement between multiple channel members at the same level, it is called a horizontal conflict. Example, imagine a toy manufacturer has two wholesalers. Retailers from two different regions buy their products from them. There might be a conflict if one wholesaler starts selling products to retailers in the other region. And third, multi-channel conflicts. When there are disagreement between members in different marketing channels, it is called a multi-channel conflict. These aren't always only vertical or horizontal. Every member of every single channel can be affected by these conflicts. For example, imagine a toy manufacturer with two marketing channels. The manufacturer sells its goods straight to the consumers in the first channel, that is done through an official website. In the second channel, the manufacturer sells its goods to wholesalers who then sell it to retailers. Now, if the products in the toy manufacturer's website are cheaper than the retail stores, then the sales in the second channel will reduce. The conflict this will create requires some solution that works for both the channels. Now moving on to reason for conflicts. First, role ambiguity, when the roles of members aren't made clear to them. Second, goal incompatibility. This happens when the manufacturers or channel members are not compatible with each other. Third, mismatch of market perception. This happens when a company's judgment of the market is in one way and the prospect of a channel member is different. Third, bias or target fixing. The sales management team will always feel that more products can be sold by channel members. This leads to unrealistic targets being set. This is not something channel members will agree with. Fifth, competitor inducement. A dispute between a company and channel member might be created by a competitor. This is an unethical strategy used by a competitor. This aims to create hurdles for any company which has good terms with its channel members and sells its products easily. Now looking at some examples, starting with the first one, the conflict between Nike and Amazon. Nike stops direct sale of clothes and shoes on Amazon. In November 2019, Nike ended an agreement to sell directly on Amazon.com. Although third-party sellers still share a relationship with Nike, but Nike's role will not be of Amazon's wholesaler. Nike and Amazon's relationship began in 2017. In the beginning, Nike wanted to keep a control on the products when they were put up on the website, reduce sales from illegal distributors as well as grey market or knockoff products being sold by third-party distributors. Over a couple of years, Nike hasn't been able to do this. Nike faced competition from third-party sellers. These sellers had more reviews than Nike, and that is why they had an advantage. The agreement was ended because Nike wants to use its website and app to sell more products directly to customers. Nike now wants to work with only 40 retail partners. So technically, Nike products are available on Amazon, but they are sold by third-party distributors and not directly by Nike. Moving on to the other example of McDonald's, about the conflict between McDonald's and its franchisees. Black former franchisees sued McDonald's over discrimination. In August 2020, black former franchisees had a legal dispute with McDonald's. They said they were forced to sell or close up to 200 locations because of systematic and covert racial discrimination by McDonald's. There are 77 former operators at complaints, and together they manage around 300 stores. There are now claims from all of these 300 locations. There are damages of between $4 million or $5 million per store. The total compensatory damages in the legal battle could reach about $1.5 billion. The complainants say there is a massive widespread policy of discrimination that target black franchisees. They claimed that they were pushed into less profitable locations and not given the same opportunities for expanding that other operators were. They said that the firm pushed black franchisees into difficult areas, while operators didn't visit these places, so they lost opportunities for expanding and growing. It also says that the firm retaliated against black franchises and provided misleading projections of locations that were given to black operators. McDonald's responded to the black ex-franchisees' billion-dollar racial discrimination suit by saying it was illogical and self-serving speculation. McDonald's legal counsel and former US Attorney General Loretta Lynch said in a statement that there are legal deficiencies in the complaint that merit dismissal at the early stage. McDonald's has been trying to better its image. Example, it recently hired a new diversity chief. They have also said that they will promote equity between franchises at its offices and among its suppliers. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on factors affecting distribution channel part 1. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on factors affecting distribution channels part 2. In part 1, we covered 3 factors. Number 1, channel design. Number 2, channel policy. And number 3, channel conflicts. In this part 2 video, we are going to cover resolution of conflicts and motivating channel members. Let's start with the fourth one, conflict resolution. The conflicts that happen between the company and its channel need to be resolved as soon as possible
to prevent it from getting serious and affecting the business. Both channel members turn to conflict resolution. A peaceful solution must be sought to a disagreement between them. This is called channel resolution. It needs to be resolved in a systematic and sequential manner, even though it's a difficult process. Moving on, the steps under conflict resolution include: first, understanding the nature and intensity of the conflict. Understanding the intensity and nature of the problem is important since it shows the significance or level of the problem. Some issues that might be of routine nature can be resolved through deliberation and mutual discussion. This can either be between a particular channel member and the company or between channel members itself. For instance, a distributor's territory coverage may be a major issue. Next, finding out the source of the conflict. It is critical to understand where the problem lies. With the help of this, potential solutions can be sought after in the right direction. Source of conflict in the above case might be unclear domain definition. Geographic coverage might not always be the basis of territory allocation. Sales areas, retailers, wholesalers, or accounts might be more often to be the basis of the same. Moving on to the third step, assessing the consequences of the conflict. The impact of conflict on sales or business of the company needs to be necessarily measured. No sales or business may be lost if the conflict has minimal stakes with respect to the concerned parties and is purely operational in nature, since it can be settled through negotiations or discussions. In case of stakes being high, like the loss of margins or sales of either of the source of the channel member or the company, the conflict might arise into a serious dispute. And finally, adopting appropriate conflict resolution plan or method is a final step. The above three steps make way for this step and make this step more purposeful or meaningful. This can be explained in detail with the help of Kenneth Thomas' 5 styles of conflict resolution. First, avoidance. The disinterested or weak members of channel use avoidance. The problem is avoided or ignored by members who cannot solve them. Next, aggression. Selfish members who only think of personal motives and self-gain and don't care about others use aggression. They do not bother about the impact on other channel partners and continue working in their own best interest. Third, accommodation. Surrender leads to the solution of accommodation. In the solution, a channel member does not concern himself with his or her interest and allows other parties to reach their goal. Next, compromise. In a situation, a midway solution of a problem is reached through sacrifices made by both the parties. Meetings are called, nature of problems understood, and a solution to the problem is sought. And finally, collaboration. The most professional way of finding a solution to all kinds of conflict is collaboration. A solution that is profitable to both parties is sought by brainstorming on the problem. Both parties profit from this approach, and therefore this is called a win-win situation. Please note, aggression and avoidance are not used to resolve a situation in reality. But compromise, accommodation, and collaboration are used to solve problems in reality, depending on the success and the different degrees of involvement of channel members. Now let's look at the example of conflict resolution in the case of McDonald's and one of its franchisees in India, Connaught Plaza Restaurants. Headed by Vikram Bakshi, Connaught Plaza is one of McDonald's joint venture partners in India. On August 21, 2017, McDonald's declared that it had ended the franchise agreement with CPRL for 169 locations in North and East India. McDonald's said that CPRL had broken the conditions of their agreement. They said there were mismanagement, financial irregularities and inadequacies in their control system. Vikram Bakshi, MD of CPRL, took the issue to the Delhi High Court. He said that he would keep the outlets open until the court takes a decision or McDonald buys a stake in CPRL on terms he agrees with. This dispute lasted for 6 years until May 2019. It ended when McDonald's bought Bakshi's 50% stake in their joint venture CPRL. Moving on to the sixth factor affecting distribution channel is motivating channel members. Strategies to motivate channel members are formulated by many companies to avoid channel conflicts. These strategies enable the channel members to perform and prevent potential conflicts from becoming real ones. Lack of commitment is most commonly the reason for conflict. This is why motivating channel members can prove to be of great advantage and can improve channel performance. There are various ways adopted by companies to motivate their channel members, like extending the credit period, giving them financial incentives or non-financial incentives, or recognition for outstanding performance. Thus, these can be summarized between financial incentives and non-financial incentives. Moving on to the forms of motivation, as stated by John R.P. French from University of Michigan and Bertram Revin, 5 forms of motivation make the performance of the channel members more effective. The first one being referent power. A company enjoys its image or recognition in the market. Power of reference is given to the company by such a position. The members of a company are naturally motivated due to the pride of being associated with such a company. Companies like HUL, Bristory, ITC, Sony, etc. enjoy referent power. Next, expert power. Some capabilities or skills are referred to as expert power that is possessed by a company and can be passed on to its channel partners. Hence, channel members can learn more about business and technology, in turn, be motivated towards being associated with the company. Companies that are technology oriented like automobile companies, telecommunication companies, and electronic company tend to use expert power. Next comes reward power. This is a company's preparedness to motivate the channel members by rewarding them. Better results can be sought by companies with the help of reward power through incentive systems or conventional rewards. Rewards can be both non-financial and financial. Next, legitimate power. The authority or power derived by a company from any agreement or contract signed by it with its channel partners, such as distributors, is referred to as legitimate power. The company acquires legal powers through this agreement to expect the parties concerned to perform as per expectations, since the members are legally obligated to do so. And finally, coercive power, which is not suggested in most of the cases. When a company uses threat to get its channel members to perform, it is known as coercive power. Big companies ensure that the work is done through distributors by using this method due to the strong position and power. This method, however, be avoided since threat or coercion is not a motivating factor. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on factors affecting distribution channels, part 2. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
Thank you and see you in the next video.
In this video, we are going to cover the topic on factors affecting distribution channel, part 3, the final part. In the earlier 2 parts, we covered 6 factors. Let's start with the 7th factor in this video, which is selection of channel partners. There are already channel members like wholesalers and retailers in the market for FMCG and pharmaceutical companies. They are included in a company's distribution networks. Channel partners are also selected in these sectors by appointing distributors, a key member, and also CNF agents. Dealers have to be picked or delegated for consumer durables like automobiles, white goods, and home electronics. Moving on, the criteria for selection of channel partners. Shortlisting and selecting channel members should be done after taking a number of factors into account. There are 4 categories these factors can be grouped into. First, market factors. These involve the product's current market structure, the buying-selling process, consumer location and preferences, existence or proportion of industrial or organizational buyers, etc. are involved in this. Along with these, another important market factor is competition. Next comes product factors. These are the features of a product, as in physical properties, technical or technological aspects, life cycle, consumer perception, market position, etc. Product life cycle is also important. Channels need to support more products when they have been introduced rather than in a later stage. Moving on to the 3rd factor, channel factors. These involve various features and abilities of channel members. There are 5 important aspects of factors: financial credibility of channel members, product promotion capabilities, selling abilities, after-sales service abilities, and finally, willingness or availability of a particular channel member. And finally, SWOT analysis. Before they are chosen, potential channel members need to be evaluated. This is known as SWOT analysis. The strength and weakness are different for each channel member in any marketing environment, and so are the opportunities and threats. Moving on, the criteria checklist. Sometimes intuition and judgment are used for selection, but it is better to follow a fixed guideline or checklist. The checklist presents a substantiative basis or qualitative and quantitative indicators about the abilities of the would-be channel partners and how suitable they are. Here is a checklist. First, knowledge of the market and local presence. Second, contract relationship with customers. Third, reputation in the market and financial soundness or credibility. Fourth, sales area coverage. Fifth, selling skills and competence. Next, competitive service skills. Next, marketing support to the manufacturer. And finally, necessary leadership qualities. Now moving on to the 8th factor, evaluating channels. 2 very important steps are the evaluation and control of channel members. They are also the last steps in the effective distribution channel management. This section discusses the evaluation of channel members. Evaluation is done mostly on a monthly or quarterly basis. The monthly basis being prepared, some evaluate on both a monthly and quarterly basis. There are recommended standard tasks and targets. The evaluation is done with your help. Tasks and targets can be about sales volume or value, channel inventory level management, efficiency, profitability, etc. Moving on, the company and channel partner decide what the evaluation norms or criteria should be. According to STEM, there are 5 measures or criteria for a channel member's performance evaluation. 3 of these are effectiveness, efficiency, and equity. Delivery and simulations are used to decide effectiveness. Productivity and profitability are used to measure efficiency. And finally, control of channel. Channel control and channel operations go hand in hand. Control keeps the operation on the right path. It also prevents them from breaking the norms or standards that have been decided upon. Instruments of control are used to implement the control system. They are, first, Contractor agreement. One of the oldest instruments is a contractor agreement. It is a conventional method of controlling functions or operations. There are written agreements between companies and CNF agents, distributors, and dealers. The relationship between the two parties and also how they will operate are decided by this agreement. Next comes budgets and reports. Budgeting and reporting are how a contractor agreement is applied. Report or reporting is more crucial of the two. An already existing reporting system makes it easier to monitor and control. There are weekly, monthly, and quarterly reports. These have different formats. For instance, weekly reports are short and precise with immediate operational results. Monthly and quarterly reports are more detailed than the weekly reports. These include short and long-term goals and planning parameters. And finally, a distribution audit. Channel operations are controlled and analyzed with the help of distribution audits. Distribution resembles a management audit. That is how it is different from a financial audit. A channel member's targets, activities or operations and results over a certain time period are systematically analyzed by a distribution audit. Distribution audit can find flaws in operations or shortfalls in result. These flaws can be discussed and necessary corrective measures and improvements can be made. Channel members do this with the help of the review or audit. Now let's take an example of Subway when it was audited. Subway was investigated when it was found that franchisees stole $81,000 in salaries. The Fair Work Ombudsman further continued the investigation of the Australian-based armed sandwich giant Subway. This happened after $81,000 in stolen wages was recovered from 22 of its franchises. FDO says that 167 Subway employees were not given their full salaries by the chain's franchisees. Out of the 22 businesses, 18 were investigated and were found to have not been following workplace laws properly in Australia. Subway itself might get into legal trouble if Fair Work investigators say the company could have known the wages would be stolen and did not act accordingly. Moving further, the FDO said that the franchisee did not pay full minimum wage, public holiday rates, overtime and casual loadings, etc. Almost 50% of the affected employees were found to be vulnerable. They were either very young or from different cultural and linguistic backgrounds. Sandra Parker, who is part of Fair Work Ombudsman, said her office is investigating Subway's actions in Australia. Back in March 2019, the federal court slapped a $65,000 fine on a former Subway franchisee. As stated by Sandra in one of the circulars, franchisors could be held legally responsible if their franchisee stores don't follow workplace laws. They must take reasonable steps to prevent this occurring. The community expects head companies to assure themselves that all stores in their franchise network are paying workers their correct wages and entitlements.
So that's it, folks. This brings an end to a comprehensive take on the subject of sales management. Do subscribe to our channel where you'll witness such videos daily. Thank you and stay tuned for more videos.